Hey, what's up, everybody? So, sorry for the late start. I'm gonna try to get back into this thing and just have a lot of overhead every day that I've got to hit. Rob and Zach are busy little bees today. We kind of changed. We did something kind of interesting that I can talk about for a minute. And obviously, this isn't gonna make it into a cut or anything. But we changed the way we work here. Like we were going to be doing this leapfrogging technique, which was I think we even put it in this planning document, where we'd have this really weird situation where I could only stream some days of the week, because what we wanted to do was have Rob and Zach watch the stream as it happens, and then do a time code, and then edit it the next day, or start on the edit that day. And this is kind of what a month would look like of streaming for me. And it was not the right way to do this. We did this for we started down this path for a different reason. And now we're just using a queue. We're just saying, like, you don't need to watch the stream while it's happening. You don't need to moderate it. You just come in and, my camera's a little off. Ooh. Oh boy, that camera mount, not the best. So now we're just doing, I work whenever I want to work, and they just pick it up whenever they have time. So it's a little bit different. We've been kind of talking about, like, does it make sense to do a, let me just do that. There's my little notes for this thing. Like, does it make sense to do this? Probably not. It makes for like a bad streaming schedule, and it makes for this weird thing where, like, nobody can ever take time off, because if you take time off, I can't go online and work that day. Because it's kind of this weird binding thing. And we're doing this kind of with the intention of, like, we could continually release episodes like this. But we just decided, hey, what if we did it like Netflix does, right? Where we're going to continue releasing episodes for the current project, which is OmatumBucks, until we're done with it. But for all future projects, we probably won't release YouTube episodes until we're totally done. Or at least done with phases of the project. So we'll just be like, okay, let's just get a bunch of these things built up in the queue, ready to go on YouTube, and then 10 days straight of episodes that have already been cut down like a month ago. I think it makes sense. So we're still kind of adjusting to that. I'm still kind of adjusting to that. But the goal is, in maybe 2 weeks, I'll be on like a 4 or 5 day a week schedule for streaming. So that was my little mini update about the office. Boy, I have got the burps today. I've got the coffee burps. How's it going, Crace? How's it going, Kenzo? How's it going, Bane? Noah, sorry. It's just reading up. So today we're going to pick back up where we left off. And what we're doing is we're taking something that we haven't designed, and we're just blasting through it. We have this very simple dashboard we have to create for users of OmatumBucks, which is going to be, it's evolving into a loyalty system / notification system where we can reward you guys for participating in the community and for installing an extension. The extension will just notify you when there's new content available. And it's gonna be kind of a fun project, because the dashboard here is for you guys to use. But the real tangible dev stuff that we get into later is going to be like these fun little micro projects. Like, we're going to be building a Twitch bot. We're going to be building a Discord bot, all from scratch. Let's just figure out how to do it. We're going to be building a little Chrome extension. It'll be kind of a complex set of micro operations that'll go on, but standpoint, like, it's pretty straightforward. All of the primary stuff's going to be done in this big monolith. And then everything will kind of connect into the monolith, which is Ruby on Rails, right? So we just jumped into this. We said, screw it. We're not going to do interface designs inside of Illustrator. I don't normally do this, and now we're reaping the problems of not normally doing this. But to catch you guys up as to where we are on this, we have created a little landing page for the login here. And this is all prototype, okay? So keep that in mind. All prototype. This is just, we're going to burn all the code down at some point and make it a lot more efficient. But for today, we're just using the simplest version of how to do this. We're using just nothing is probably going to make it into the future other than like some of the styles and the page layouts. But we're going to eventually convert this all to Vue because I just want to try a Vue project. So here's our little homepage that we made, and this is for like logging in. And we might ditch this sign up with Google situation, but for now we're just going to pretend that's it. Go in, and we made a little, we got this little chart in to show if you're earning points in our loyalty system. This would show you those points being earned. And we have little menu items. This is all just prototype SPA code. So we're just loading in different HTML files to show that. So we're working on this dashboard part. And let me get this thing doing the thing it's supposed to do. Oh, it's not doing it anymore. I'm trying this one monitor approach out too. Oh boy, that just disappeared everything on my screen. Hold on. Oh, it all went away. Why? Can I disable that? I'd like to disable that. Whatever the hell just happened there. Clear desktop. Okay, we're back in business. Okay, let me just pop this guy onto this side. There we go. And then take that guy and do that. Okay, and now we can do this little fun thing. The Windows plus arrow turns, does it turn that off though? I just want that turned off. Yesterday we had this little problem here where when the graph gets tiny, all the dates just like slam together like this. I have a different way to fix this. We were fixing that by modifying the code. Modifying the actual array that was setting up that chart. So we did it over here, and that would just be a mess to say like, we have to modify this crap every time. It's a good temporary solution, but even in a prototype, I like to get these things figured out a little bit more. And so what I came up with as a better solution in my head is I think we could probably hit these, oh God, as an nth child selector. I just need to figure out what in the world these things are called. I think they're foreign objects. Yeah. So we'll take these foreign objects and who knows what we can do with those. Maybe display or visibility, not visible, whatever that declaration is. They're sitting inside of a class called CT labels. Let's make sure it's not like W's. Okay, CT label. Yeah, I think that might be a better solution though. Do it with CSS. That way we can make this thing a little bit smarter. Come down here. Let's find that code. Oh boy. Okay. So CT labels is the G group in the SVG. Inside of that, just going to do that because that's fun. Inside of that, we'll do, we'll need to make an nth child selector that selects some amount of these things in a repeating pattern and then just makes them not display. So the thing we want to talk to inside of that is foreign object, which should be able to catch CSS. If we just do visibility, none, is that a thing we can do? Let's just turn them all off first, right? And then we go from there. Last thing I want to do is try to figure out what we can do with that. Plus try to figure out how in the world, oh, I didn't spell that right. How in the world to get the nth child selector to home in. Visibility. Let's see what we got. Hidden. We want to use hidden so it still asks for layout. Display none would just get it to remove from layout. It might, I don't know, go to the wrong place. So visibility none is the way to do that. Now we need an nth child selector. Now I'm not a dummy, so I'm going to use a little sandbox for that to try to figure it out. Oh, Chris Coyer, man after my own heart here. So if we wanted to turn off the second li repeating like that, okay. So that would get rid of every other. Let's try that. Yep, that got rid of every other. So what if we want to also add one plus the next one? So every other plus what? Every third one? No. Oh boy. Now I'm lost. Nth child. child to n plus 1. That starts it differently. Okay, let me look this up really quick. Well, you know what we could do? We could reverse it. So if we say, hold on, this might be an easier way. What if we make them all invisible and then put the visibility back? I don't think we might not be able to combine these, is what I'm thinking. So 2n plus 1 will get us every other one being visible. And then if we do another one of these, that's like the third one, make that invisible, or make blah. Or maybe the fifth one. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to turn them all off and then make like every fifth one visible. Starting at the first. 5n didn't work though. Let's take a look. I wonder if nth child is losing. Oh, jeez. It's that one. Hidden. Bingo bango. Boom, shakalaka. So that does it. That does it. That's all we wanted here. It was just like make it a little easier to look at. Now, I think the other thing I want to do is I want to take this label is catching one value. It's getting the series value or something. Let's see. Yeah, it's getting the chart data, which is in the series. I want to see if we can, well, let's look at the plugin documentation. It would be smart to put the thing like, oh, that's April, whatever, 6th or 5th or whatever on top of that. So let's go look up Chartist Tooltip. It might be something that's built in, or it might be something that we have to write a little bit of code for. There is a custom tooltip function we could do. So there's nothing here that says like turn on the series. However, what is this thing? So this is showing description and value as part of the series. Is that how we should have been doing this? So without descriptive text, and this is showing with descriptive text. Okay, so we're going to need to generate it looks like the chart data, which is this, as an object array. Is that right? Yeah, as object array. And then I don't know if meta is the proper word for that, right? But that might be what Chartist wants. So we can pull that together. We used this little tool yesterday to get the what do you call it? The Ruby. We used Ruby to generate out the list of dates. So we'll do that again. Oh, this is going to be like, how is my Ruby skills? So that'll get us the list. Boom. Yeah, that's all our data. Why is this stream only in 1080p? Because Twitch probably doesn't want to give me transcoding yet. That's probably the reason. Give it a minute. Usually transcoding kicks in based on a need. So that after a little while, it'll start kicking in. Okay, so there's our first array. So what we'll probably do is take that and then make that a hash array or whatever the heck they're called. So that's doing this right here, date list map. Then we get a date list array here. Then we make this random number thing. So let's not do that. We're going to do that a different way now. And it's Ruby. So as far as I know, we don't get block comments. We just get these ones, these fun little hashtag comments. We don't really need to print that. We don't need the number array anymore. What we do need to do is walk over the date list and create the new output array. You know, there's a for each, and I don't know how to write it. It's been years. I think it's map, but yeah, we'll just do this. Yeah, let me just show me the code. Thank you. Each. Okay. Why? Get out of here. So we'll say date list. Whoa boy. Whoa boy. List.each. Do this thing. That's our code block. Get out of here. Oh, it's each do. That's how we can write a block. Perfect. Oh, boy. Why are we just auto-completing that? And then, okay, specify the sort of like what the thing would be represented as, like that. Okay, so that if we did nothing but put item, we would just get that same array to come right back out, I think. Boom, just like that. Okay. So now we're going to want to construct that little thing. So we need a new, so I don't know what Ruby's version of this is. Be good to know. All we need is a string out, so let's just construct a string. We'll call this grouped vals equals. This will be interesting. Can we just wants that like that, and then it's gonna want quotes. So I'm gonna do single quotes. Oh boy, this IDE not the best. Oh, why do you give me two? Come on. Let me just see what that's going to give me. Nope. Do I need quotes? Yeah, okay. We still need quotes around that thing, though. There we go. Okay. So now we just need a comma here, and then the value is going to be a randomly generated number, which we can do right here. Between 0 and 35 is fine. Let's check that. Cool. Okay. Now we need to get this into an array. So we'll pull this out, and we already have an output array set up, and just say push that in. And then down here, we're just going to print out that array so we can stick it back in our code. Oh boy, what do we get wrong here? Output, not vals. Ah, dicks. So that's not what we want to see. It actually stuck in that thing. Everything else is good, but that little escaping, I wonder if that's from from the way I did that. Let me try puts. Yeah, but now we don't get the thing. Let's try puts grouped vals to JSON. Oh, that's the wrong thing again. Output to JSON. Nope, still escaping. And it's putting everything in quotes. Well, they're going into strings. That might be the problem. Okay, let's try to construct this then as a key. Group vals equals a new hash. Let's try that. Nope. There we go. I'm a little rusty. Okay. Undefined method meta for hash. Oh boy. How to add key to hash. How to how many years I've been using Ruby? Long time. Don't remember any of this stuff. Oh, it's this weird thing. It's this weird, right? This weird turn it on like this thing. So really, we don't even need this setting up here. We just need it to be colon meta, boom, set the key to item, colon value, boom, set the key to the random value. Run that. That's what we wanted. That's exactly what we wanted right there. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys can't see that. It's off my screen. So I'll just do it one more time. Run that. Tommy Bunny. Hey, thanks for hoping for no danger from me. I appreciate that. I also hope you know danger. Let's take that, copy paste it into our prototype as the new chart data. Boom, just like this. Biggity biggity. And then we're going to take this stuff and just copy paste it in here. So you can see how useful it was to save this in as part of the documentation. Because now we can just, if we need to change that again, we quickly can do that. Yeah, I'm making a UI. So just give me 1 second. What we're doing is we're doing prototype work. So part of doing the prototype work is generating data, and we're generating data. So save that. Here's the UI right here. So that data we just generated was used to make this chart. Oh, and look at that. We have exactly what we're looking for. How neat is that? Now we could make it look a little bit better than that. So let me see. I am not actually sure where that tooltip caught that color. Let's see if we can catch it. There's probably, like if I had to guess, there's something holding that tooltip right there. Okay. So chartist tooltip, and right now it's invisible. So we can update that in here. First of all, let's change the background color to a brand color. I like the, there's this hot pink we use. Perfect. We gotta change the bottom part too. What is that gonna be? Just like an arrow they added. That's the before. Perfect. Okay, border top color. Bingo bango. Let's make that text white. So we have chartist tooltip meta and value, so we could style both of those. Looks like the color is right there. And interestingly enough, like they even applied a font family. That's kind of like a don't do that thing. So we'll override the font, the color white, font family. We're using a font called Inter, and make it sans serif as a backup. What else can we mess around with here? We can mess around with the size of the font, but I think we should do that per value. So let's say April 12th, 30. So let's do that just for the meta first. And then the other property is the value. Okay. I'm just going to close this so we can actually see it a little better. I think we might be able to turn it on. So let me try that really quick. Nope. Nope. I'll take it back. I'm going to see how to turn that thing on so we can see it. Might be opaque. Let's try one more thing. I think it might be opacity that they're dropping down. Good. Okay. So we'll just leave it turned on as we style it. Whoa. Yes, I've used Firefox DevTools, but I'm using Chrome today. Font size 12 pixels. It's a little tiny. That's okay. And for the value, it's 27. What can we do here? Margin top 4 pixels. Nope. Just want to give it a little more space. Nope. Nope. There'll be none of that today. None of that business will happen today. How in the world did they stick these things on here? Come on. Nope. That's just not even something I can find right now. Oh, that's just so weird. So those are sticking inside this thing. Who knows how this is getting any sort of anything. Well, I think if we wanted to adjust this, we're into weird territory of line height. Yeah, that's the only way we're gonna be able to do it. So let's not do that. We'll just get some control over that. And then maybe we could uppercase the value here. Sure. What editor do I use? I use Sublime Text. What is this icon you have? Some direct relief charity thing. Okay. I use Sublime Text. I like it. So I think we're good with the tooltip. Let's get rid of the opacity there. Let's make sure it all works. Very cool. Very cool. And as I do this, I realize we could have made that data in JavaScript. So we could actually see these things randomized, but whatever. I'm curious if you could instantiate the chart and then draw the data in. Because that would be a really cool effect to be like bloop and it just shows up. Let me just see. Why I'm doing this in a prototype is the real question. That is the sweetest thing. All right, what am I doing looking at these plugins? Let's look at the API docs. So what would it be? Something like update. Oh, why? I don't want to bookmark this. Come on, get out of here. Yeah, let's just see if there's something. Yeah, function update. So we just send it the new optional data you'd like to set for the chart before it'll update. Yeah. So we provide data and then options, probably to change the options. And then the override thing is going to do what? Who knows? Who knows? Okay, let's try an update on this then. So how is data? So data, we specify the labels and the series. So here's my question. Can we start it with empty? Can we turn it on and just say, you just don't have anything here and you don't have anything here, like that. And then now that that's created, we do, we'd have to stuff this into a variable. Just to see if this is something we can do. Let's just see. So it did it, but it got the labels in, but it didn't get the chart data in. That's a little interesting. It did work. Oh boy. So what did I screw up here? The series, I specify the series as chart data, which is this thing, which worked here, but did not actually get it to update. Well, that's not a big deal. That's not the biggest deal. But I do need to update it if somebody changes the scope, the range. Let's see. I'm going to reload the page and just see if that maybe cleans it up a little bit. Let me check the console. Maybe the console's going to tell me what I broke here. That's saying series index areas for each is not a function. Was I supposed to include something in this thing? It's saying if options, so I don't have options specified. Data is supposed to look like this. This data label, this data series. Very weird. This is all formatted correctly, right? I don't see what could be wrong there. I'm going to try something where we send it all the values as 0 and tell it to put labels on this as part of turning on and just see. Let's just see if that gets us what we want. So I'm going to generate another thing here where the values start at 0. That's just so weird. No, if we don't do anything. Yeah, it looks like that works. So if we don't do anything, fine. There's a chance that that's getting called too soon. And in fact, if I had this set up as a, as a thing that I wanted to have happen, then I do think like I'd want it to delay a second. So I just need to see how do we hit one of these things that's already been created without sticking it into an object? Can we select an existing one? I'd imagine you can hit something. I just don't know what they're registering. Your series is an array of an array. It's supposed to be. Oh, you're thinking that here in the updates, I see what you're saying. That you're thinking it should come in as a single item array. Look at that smart guy. Some smart guy points for stupid kid. That's right, yeah, okay. Now, I wonder if there's some way to make it so we can force a transition now, right? Because it should have started those points off on the bottom and they catch an immediate update, right? So there should be stuff in here that we can animate, like the CT point. If I put a long, well, there is a transition on that. So we should have seen the points transition into place, but we didn't. I'm going to put a long transition on these things just to see. 1 second. No, it's just loading it right in. So it's replacing all the values in there. It doesn't have like some way to, it's probably just re-rendering the whole thing instead of taking the values that are there and, you know, pushing the new stuff in. Well, that was a good idea, but I mean, that means that like hitting these buttons over here, you're just going to watch a new chart show up. It's not going to be like draw into place. I don't really feel like extending this thing to do that, but I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard. We just have to say there's always X number of points, and you're just going to, instead of replace it, just go in and right on top of it. So we're still going to keep this in because that's how, if we change the range, we'll update the chart like that. Okay. Well, we've got our nice little earnings over time chart figured out. We could wire this stuff in, but I think we just wait. This is an easy wire up to get it to rearrange itself. There's an animations API for that library. We could see, but no, I don't think that they're... we had a thing that should have animated it, and it didn't. So my impression is because it didn't animate it, it's jamming all the new values in. So let's look at the plugin. Stop kid. It shouldn't be too hard. It's just that they make a decision where when a new set of values, when this update's called, does the new set, do they just overwrite everything that's inside of the chart, or do they go and selectively look for something to match it against, right? It would be a choice that they made. So I don't see, it's not an external thing, so it's got to be in here, right? Animate. Now, I guess we could possibly use this to set the points to animate up. Oh boy. And it's using SMIL. SMIL is, well, we're not doing anything too crazy. SMIL should be fine. Okay, function animate lets you animate the current element with SMIL animations. You can add animations for multiple attributes. Oh boy. This is a thing. I don't see any keywords in here to say like use existing value or anything. All right, let's pull it out. Let's pull out. We got the chart working. Let's make some more stuff look pretty. So the next thing we got to do is we're going to do a little, well, we've got a featured thing that we have to design for right here. We're going to do that live. What that's going to look like is just a panel where we can stick information, and hopefully I can get it just to match the height of this. If not, fun times are going to start happening. So we need dashboard content. There we go, featured panel. So let's give this thing a little bit of a talking to. Let's put a title inside, or headline inside. What would be a featured thing? New item in store. Do an action. So we basically have a button that they can click on for the featured thing. Go see it now. And some copy for that. This should be somewhat of a thing, like a RTE. So we'll have a rich text editor on our side to say what's the featured thing. So let's have this accept kind of like a paragraph like this, and then type in, hey, we just added a new thing to the store. Go check it out. Then we'll break that. We'll do, this is rich text, so maybe we can do this and stick an image here. And let's go get an image of a hat or something like that. Hat image. Perfect. I think that's the hat we should sell, but I need a transparent one. This is going to be what we're pushing. This cowboy hat. Perfect. Do you really need this much text to send me a freaking picture of your hat? Download that. Wow, how many clicks before I get my hat? Show the folder. I'm just going to jam it into the project. Oh boy, it's all the way over here. 800 kilobytes for that thing. And I think what I'll do on our admin backend is I'll have it catch a base 64. So we don't have to save any images. We'll just save it in the database. Boom. Okay, save that. Let's see how that updates. Looks good. I mean, that's about the size you want to see those things. Perfect. Start working on that featured panel a little bit. Get some CSS in. Now that should have done its job to flex out, but maybe we didn't make that flex yet. So that's top thing. Great naming, Greg. Let's just call it top thing. Perfect. Never label things the way I label things. I don't work with team members. So perfect. Call it top thing. So I just do what I want when it comes to naming. Make it flex. There we go. Got that to do the thing we wanted to do there. The height is screwed up, obviously. Inside of the top thing, we're going to have the chart holder, and we're going to tell that not to shrink. Let that be whatever size it feels like it needs to be. But we're also going to tell it not to grow. So it's just going to try to lock itself in. For the featured panel, ooh, oh boy. Don't want that to shrink or to grow. No, I do not like whatever's going on there. Just getting all the height. What is that way? Is it like you have to align it to the top? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we're just saying scrunch your butt up there. And let's give this some positioning so it should pass height if asked for. Let's take the featured panel and we'll give it a background color so we can see what in God's name is happening with that thing. It's humongous. All right. Let's do a height of 100% and an overflow of hidden. Nope. Nope. So it didn't catch the height from this guy. Let's take a quick look. It just wanted to be as tall as it wanted to be. Top thing. I mean, that's getting a way too much height. I'm curious how we can get this over here without using any sort of like strict element specification stuff. Can we get it just to say, hey, there's an item in here that's just doing its own thing for height, but we want you over here to do nothing for height. Maybe if we make it small, like smaller, I'm just going to do, let's get rid of the image. The image is what's building the height up. Okay, so now we would want to see it like if it's too small, go down. That's called CSS grid. It is, but let's do it a different way. Do we need grid for this? So height of 100% didn't work because this thing for whatever reason, isn't reporting height out. It's there, but it's just not reporting it, even with position relative. I know there's a new thing we could do here called height fit content. I wonder if that would fix it. It's new, but it's also not in things. Because if we set the height here to 300 pixels or something, boom, now you've got something it can talk to. Yeah, I think grid would be the easier one for this. You're right. No, you guys are right. All right, let's do that then. So we'll do display grid. Yep, for just something like this. And then get rid of the flexing. And now I have to look up grid. I don't use it at all. Grid.io. So we just have 3 things we need in here. 2 things, sorry. I'm just going to delete all this stuff. Can I get rid of some of those elements? Yeah, boom, boom. Okay, 2 things next to each other. So let's give it a, nope, not that. Add a column, boom. And what is it? What are these things? Oh boy. Oh, gritty. So column 1, we'll say 75% wide. Column 2 will be 25% wide. I don't know what these FRs mean, and I don't want to know. There we go. That's pretty much what we want. It's the ability, and we could do 60-40, right? That's pretty cool. Yeah, thanks guys for pointing that out. Now to take this CSS and make it all one line. It's fractions. Okay. Okay. Boop. It didn't even. Do the thing. Ba-bang. Okay, so for some reason that first item, it's like not the right width. Because it's, oh. It's already got width applied. So let's get rid of that. So let me just figure out where we stuck that width. I don't know if we'll need that either. I don't know if we'll need that. Let's get rid of the image display none, just to see what happens. She gets big. Okay, so we need to make sure that image is smaller than whatever the thing is. Or we're gonna have to throw overflow hidden on. And I think as a oh no, it didn't even do it. As a good rule here, we'll just make this, we'll just make sure this is all based in percentages or something for purposes to make, you know, kind of keep it in line. I'm just saying words today. There's the width. Get out of here. Go. Nobody likes you. Boom. Okay. It's a little wide. So that's a 60-40. And it's just pushing. It's just pushing for space. So let me display on that image again. Just to make sure this thing lines up. Okay, good. There we go. So interesting that this chart is very, like, it's a weird chart, man. You see that when the page resized? Oh, it does fine here. It's just when it resizes particular ways, it doesn't like to catch the styling update. All right, let's get to work on Mr. Featured panel. We want to do for a background color, maybe do, let's start with white and then move that white way down. Yeah, it's just a little brighter. Now, we'll probably want some padding on this bad boy. Boom. Now, there is something a little weird about that. It just goes right to the edge of the screen. Is that how this works? Why is that happening? You see that? It's just like right over to the edge. Here it respects the left padding. Here it doesn't. What's happening there? That's the panel, which is asking for padding on this side. And then that thing is squished over. It's almost like that little gap is pushing it over. So I bet if I kill the gap, why can't I edit that? Oh, CSS grid. Why can't I edit none of this? Let's refresh. Oh, no, we're fine. Okay. Yeah, it's that weird gap. So why is that a thing? Is it because we set these things to stretch? Because at this point, we're back into floats. We're back into floats and whatnot. Because I can do this probably. Which one do we want to be smaller? %, and it's 20 pixels, and that does it. But that's a weird hack. Check my box sizing. What does the box sizing need to be for these? Because I think I have it all set to border box. I mean, that stuff's right, man. What's happening is that grid column gap isn't computing incorrectly. Which I can do like this. I can make it so the second column is smaller, but I'd hope that there's just a thing. Because that's a weird thing. And if I'm learning grid today, which I am, I don't want that to be a thing. You can't even use the column gapping. What's the point? I see nothing. I see nothing. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. This is a flex thing. Yeah. That's what it's doing. It's causing an overflow. As a solution, instead of using percentage, try using FR units. Really? Okay. So you said the FR units are fractions. So if we thought, okay, so if we wanted to represent 6 60/40, we could just do 6 FR, 4 FR, right? And there it goes. Okay, good to know. So that's actually a really good thing to keep in mind. Don't use percentages. They have a weird quirk. The fractional free space calculation is the way to go. Okay. And why would they do that? It's kind of questionable. Why wouldn't they do that? Why wouldn't they have, like, in the backend code, right? When the browser interprets this, why in the world would you ever want that behavior versus just say, hey, browser, convert the percentage to FR, right? Because if you had this to say 60 FR and 40 FR, it's gonna be the same thing. Same exact thing. Because it's the same ratio. You know? It's just all I'm doing here is just doing a common denominator and dividing by 10. Yes, percentage looks like it's literal to the container. Bingo. But why would you ever want a literal? You know what I mean? Like, why would you ever want that? There's just, to me, there's no sense in being like, give me a literal calculation. I cannot think of a single point where I'd ever want that. You know, if I wanted something close, I would figure out a different way to go about it. I'd like if I wanted this to go over here, what I would do is I would say hey there, featured panel, margin yourself left by some amount of pixels. Or does that just not work like that? Oh, it doesn't work like that. Okay. I guess. It's an interesting little quirk, though. Let's get back to this thing. So let's do a little border radius on that featured panel, maybe like 4 pixels. Cool. Let's get the image back in for now, because we're going to wrestle that thing. Oh boy, she's big girl. Is there some way, I wonder, to say whatever just happened there, don't do that. CSS grid sandbox. Come on, gritty. Nope, doesn't have anything here. Because I'm just curious if there's some way to preserve this grid item size no matter what. Oh, we're not, what? Use pixels. Now we're back to our problem in the beginning. Just speed reading through this. I cannot actually read this fast. I just look for code. You know, we could always just make sure that doesn't happen. This is getting into some freaking matrix stuff here. All right, let's not get into matrix stuff. All right, man versus CSS grid today. Let's just work through it. So we have a headline, and let's do font size 24 on that. Let's see what happens if I do a border bottom on that. How's that going to compute out? Okay, perfect. I think since we need to really control the height of this, we're gonna use height units for everything, and hopefully this thing reports back some height units. It doesn't look like it has any height units. Wonderful. Oh, we'll get the image in a second. Because the image is going to go inside the copy group and all that. It's just not getting, we're not getting what I need to do that yet. We could all set it with pixels. That's a decent way to just say screw it. Yeah, let's just do that then. Because I mean, if it's tinier than the thing, we're okay. Just need it to be tinier than the thing. This font thing is killing me though. Like every time I try to use a new font, it just flickers in for a second. All right, this border bottom, let's bring that up to 3 pixels and make it black and see how that looks. Like crap. Let's just get rid of the border bottom. Okay, and then let's give this some margin bottom. Looks good. Font size inside of the copy group. Okay. And I wonder too if on this thing, what might be kind of fun to do is display flex. And then that way we can always get the button to the bottom of the box because it is a box. Okay, so images will only exist inside of the copy block. That's good. Flex in grid. We're doing it. I think I just like I skimmed that Chris Coyier thing. I say Chris Coyier, but is he writing these things still? Ollie Williams. And it said, yeah, you should be using flex and grid. Like they're supposed to be used together. So I'm just doing what I was told to do. by CSStricks.com, the leading authority on things you should do. So I do want to see if I can center this this image. Images will they always be inside of A blocks? That's a question. Well, what would happen? No, the A is a span right now. Yeah, okay. Well, screw it. We'll just let the image sit there. Okay, so the action is going to be a little button. And we might want to do that because these actions are always going to be buttons. Doop. That looks great. Look very readable. Oh, we're going to have this thing happen again. Okay, so really these need to be rows. And then we need to tell it it's allowed to wrap. Perfect. Okay, and now we can align this to the bottom. Boop. Okay. Now we have to unbutton this thing. Let's add a little padding. There we go. She's getting better. Sure. Cool. Put a little transition on it. See how that looks. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little hard to read, but what do I care? You get the idea. It's not like the best looking design, but you know, functional design. It does the thing it's supposed to do. I honestly don't even know how these things are going to end up here. they're just here, I guess. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a table down here. We are not likely going to use table, but we instead are just going to get the table rolling. I mean, I'm curious if this is, so, okay, let me do a poll here. Poll, table, oh, you see slash poll, right? Let's do a poll. How to build a table. How do you guys want to see me do this? Do you want to see it in CSS or in grid, or do you want to see me do it in flex? I think I can do it in either. but you guys tell me. The table is simple. It's just going to have the, it's going to have just like, if you earn points. Thanks, Alex, man. That was a big donation, man. Thank you, dude.
For the great content and for inspiring me to learn and div more.
No problem, dude. No problem. I hope you like what we're doing, and I wish you all the best of luck learning COBOL, because I'm actually kind of surprised you put that on the table. But it makes a lot of sense to me, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for the support, dude. Okay. Well, I gotta get my headspace back in this thing. Yeah, so we could, in the table itself, it's going to have the amount of the transaction. Like, did you earn 1 point? Okay, cool. When did you earn it? Like a timestamp. And then maybe a description of how you earned it, right? And we could also do type. So we could have a type and a description. So the type could be like, you earned it through the extension, you earned it through Twitch, you earned it through Discord. That might make a lot of sense. So let me do some notes on that. Looks like grid 1. Thanks, guys, because I do need to practice in grid. The table data will consist of the date. Is this the right word? The date of activity, I guess. The amount. So that would be like plus 30 or something like that. Let me change this because we're actually going to be using date time, because I think that makes sense. It's going to be sorted by date time, right? The amount, the type, or it would be maybe the origin of the point. So this would be either Discord, Twitch, extension, and then the sort of description of that. That's not how you write that word. Double P. And this could be for Discord. It might say given by XYZ with a message. Same thing for Twitch. And then for the extension, it might be like daily point roll or something like that. Because in the extension, we can't really do all the cool stuff that we wanted to do, because there's questionable, could we get taken down by YouTube stuff there. And we don't want to mess with that. If they don't want us doing it, we're not going to do it. We're not going to push the envelope on that. But that seems pretty good, I think, for a little table. Date, time, amount, origin, description. Date. It's probably a little backwards. We'll do this. So it's more like a bank ledger. So we should probably generate a bunch of these. And then, well, why don't we do the design for one first and then go from there? So we need one of these plus a little header or something like that. Well, you guys wanted the grid. Here comes the grid. Why do I have a thing saying div ID shadow? That's not what we need there. So we might just do this as a class, because we'll be using tables in multiple places. But would it make sense? Yeah, let's do this like this. Let's do table. The table name basically is going to be earnings table, and then class it out as Greg table. We could class it as table. That doesn't seem like that would conflict with any namespace. Let's just do this. I just imagine somewhere in here with some library we stick in, it's gonna screw us. All right, so grid. So we would make this a grid, right? And then go from there. Like, I'm a little shady on how the grids work. I'm gonna guess. We're just gonna guess. I'm gonna just guess on this thing. We'll call this like headline, or what would this call? It's called a header in a table, and then there's gonna be whatever number of these things stuck in here. 4, is that right? 4 divs. Yeah. So date, time, origin, description, and amount. We can always change that later. Do Zach and Rob get something like they do for subs when we get a cheer? Well, it's all shared money for the most part. I mean, I have to pay those two guys, so it helps pay them. Eventually, like we have a plan that once the channel is profitable, right? Because we don't have the profit yet. We only have a few hundred subscribers on YouTube. By the way, you could go to our YouTube channel if you're new and I'll just put the link here to this YouTube channel. There we go. So we only have a few hundred subscribers there. We're 700 away from even being able to make money on YouTube, and probably somewhere in the range of 9,000, 10,000 away from being able to break even in the business. But once the business breaks even, we're going to do profit splitting. So those guys will, if the business was at that point right now where it's broken even, they'd get a cut. They'd get some percentage of that cheer. It's all one big money box at the end of the day, The logo at the bottom of the nav, how did I do that? There's actually a video where we go over that. So if you go to our YouTube channel, and if you guys have better ideas on how to organize this, I'm all ears. Go down to Project OmatumBucks. Oh, not like that though. Go to the playlist, and then these are cut down versions, so you don't have to watch the whole stream if you don't want to. If you want to, you can. And then there's a cut down that they did here where they show the whole process of the logo being designed. And they make it funnier. They add these little things to make it funny. But then if you're watching this and you want to see the full version, you just click here, and now you can see the whole live stream. But it was all done in Illustrator. I really like what they're doing. Like, I think they're both really talented. And given enough time, we may just make development fun for people to watch. Because I know you guys have fun watching it in real time, but I kind of want to make it entertaining for people. That's my whole goal. Do we need classes there? Probably not. Let's just do that. Alrighty. So now we got these things. This core CSS file, we should be doing a little bit smarter things than we're doing, but we're not going to yet. These should all just be their own little microscopic SCSS files. Kind of, that's how you modularize these things a little bit, you componentize them. So OMBC tables, we'll need to, well, first of all, we need to get it away from that other stuff above it. Let's give that a nice little margin of like 20 pixels. I'm being generous. Let's make it 50. Yeah, okay. Let's make sure we can put a background color on the table. Let's just see what that would look like. Okay, good. And let's dial that back a little bit to, I kind of want this like bluish, dark bluish thing going on. So let me see. Get like a dark blue. That's too much blue. That's too dark. Just a little blue tint. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Just a little blue tint like that. And now we get into it. So is there, essentially, do we just apply the same grid to the header and everything else, I guess? Man versus grid. And then we have a grid template, right? Just did it. Where did we just do that? Right there. Grid template, 6FR, 6FR and 4FR. Okay. So there's 4 items. We'll just give them all one fraction right now. It does nothing. What else do we need? I really like the idea for man versus code, but it's hard to do because it's like, it wouldn't work for today, but we just need to go into something and say, we're doing that. We're learning this, the one piece of technology today. What, this thing isn't even hitting. Is there a reason that's not hitting? What? you want to go that way, but we need you to go left and right. You want to be columns, but there are other ways we can do that there, Mr. Guy. It looks like the grid template's busted. Okay. What'd I get wrong here? Template columns. Oh boy. Okay. Thanks, Nick. So did we just do that twice? Like, did we then take this and sort of say, like, we have a body for the table here, and let's say this is going to be a row item. And then let me just put some dummy data in. What would be a date? It would be and then maybe something like boop, boop. Oh boy. We're going to, I will use moment.js to standardize. I was just thinking we need what time zone is that? You know, the origin could be, let's put our biggest one in there. Extension. And let's do a message, daily point role. And then the amount. So that would be a plus 30. Okay, so now we're just going to do this. Boop. That's kind of interesting that it like fixed itself. I think, yeah, that's easy peasy. That's what easy peasy looks like. So it's doing the right thing. We just need to style it in a little bit more. So let's get a little smarter about this. Data. Is that a thing? It's the date time. That's the word that makes sense to me. Probably just using like a better word for that. Data name, date time. This will just be whatever we pull out. So that's going to be the origin. It'll be whatever matches the JSON file. Hi, InSoundALad. There we go, amount. Now we can use that to apply some styles to these different things based on where they live. We can align stuff. It'll be fun. Unless we call everything datetime, in which case fun will be ceased. Amount. Boom. Okay. So we've got, let's work this forward. So we'll start with the headers. Get those looking more like headers. I'm going to open this up a little bit and say, set this font size just to something so we have the font size set. The padding, do you want some cell padding on this? But I probably can start giving it some padding by giving it line height. Yeah, that's easier. And then we can do some font weight adjustments. It's going to make me have to restart this stupid thing. This kills me. Like, why does that not work? What if I go back and forward? Oh, is that a Chrome bug where it's caching the font weight? Like, what's going on there? I feel like that's a Chrome bug. Oh, Alex, you want to just use data name and just add more characters to it? more things in there? So what are you thinking? Yeah, write out the code that you're thinking. Yeah, we'll see if it makes sense. Make those uppercase. Oh, that's just authoritative. That's an authoritative looking header. Or too authoritative. And let's make I don't know why the color in this one thing is a little bit weird, but it is. Give it a little bit of letter spacing. And maybe make that a little bit smaller. That's probably good. Now, I guess the question would be, how could you get things out of this? Like, where if I hover, I guess you don't need to hover anything but these rows. Data time item. Oh, no, we'll just go in. Alex, we'll walk it in from here. So we would do like dot row item. That's why I'm doing dot header right here. So we're only changing the styles on the headers. And when we go to do like padding and stuff, we do that based on these guys. So they all line up. I'll show you that in a second. Let me make 2 row items as well. Maybe 3. Let's make 3. So now I'll show you what I mean. So now we'll take, like, we need that date time to squeeze in just a little bit. So we'll do data name, date time. And we want a little bit of padding on the left. So just give it a little bit of padding on the left, just like that. That's how we'll talk to that instead. So that way we're not typing more than we need to type. And we can select both of them. So by doing it your way, we couldn't select both, right? Because essentially that is just, it's representing the same thing. For some of these styles, mind you, not for all of them. We do need to change the row background. We'll do row item. We're going to set one background color, which is going to be a little bit lighter than that. So to get that, this is a stupid way to get it, but that might work. Yeah, there we go. Let's do a little bit more. Let's push it up to 20%. Yeah, it works. And then we're going to do every other. We're going to do all the even ones. A different color. Just a little bit to give it a little breakup. Doesn't need that much. That's good enough. You mean for JSON? If you put the JSON for data name equals date time, would it populate both the header and the item? The header's static. So the header is just going to be there. Now you could do that. You could have it intelligently read the JSON and create these based on whatever values it saw. We could do that if you want to see how to do that. So say any unique key, make a header for it. And then down here, yeah, let's do that. But let's do that when we get to simulating. Don't let me forget, because that's an easy trick. I don't think we need anything else here. Amounts, we want to leave those left aligned. Descriptions, we'll leave them left aligned too. You know, but we could, I mean, for stuff like this, you could center it. It's not the end of the world to center these things. Date times we want left flush. The description probably, yeah, too. We could right flush this origin. Let's do that. Cool. It's a little funky. It's a little funky right now. We'll get it better. So then in here, we're going to need to use some line height on the row item. Now I have this separated right here. We're going to keep that separated just so it's a little easier to work with. Then we're going to come up here and do our row item CSS stuff. So we'll just do a little line height. Line height is going to make sure that we get a specific height for each row. It's breaking because this is a little too big, but we'll fix that in a second. Just like that. Make it a little bit bigger. Oh boy, it just doesn't want to get bigger. So is there, thank you, Nick. I was just about to ask that. Is there a way to give it a little bit more space? That's almost like too much space though. Is this stuff going to push back if it's longer? Let me see. Ooh, let's make you longer. So it doesn't really function that much like a table. This will break as soon as things get too long. So how do you adjust for that, Nick? Is there some special auto resizing thing that we can do and start it off at 1FR for everything and just say, hey, take text right off? Okay. What? It's still gonna have the same problem, dude. See? It just decides it wants to be this different alignment. Or is this one of these things where you just jam everything in without these items and have fun? Just have fun with that situation. Like I wish like just to let it do its thing. It'll figure itself out. I don't know. Well, let's just leave that. And because it's almost like we don't need 1, we do like 1.5. Let's put what's the longest month name we could have? November. Min max. So what does min max do? Where do you set it? Squeaky freaking mic. Origin. Let me keep working on this. I think we're going to set this font size universally. That's better. Okay. The amount, the description, the origin, when I got the thing. Let's make the amount look a little bit better. I think we could center out the amount. What I'm curious, what happens if you don't specify your columns at all? What if you just say, I want a grid, but you figure out the grid? That's what happens. Horrifying. Okay. Where do you write fit? You got to give me the code. You're just saying words right now, Nick. Nick is literally just saying min max fit. Where do we put that? Fit. That's not going to do it. I can look it up. I guess we could look at it. I need a better grid sandbox than that gritty IO. No gritty. No. Not yours. Sorry. We need more options. Where are you sticking the code, though? I'm so confused. Where you just write the CSS? Where are you writing it? Like, this is more what we want right here, but the problem with this is, look, like you have to specify all the row relations. Unless that's what that's doing. I don't know what the heck's going on here. Oh, I see. Hold on. One fur. The old one fur. Oh, it's like, wait, 1FR min max? Is that the way you'd write that? I see. So you say auto fit min max 250 pix 1FR. I see. So you're saying jam this into the grid template columns. Don't screw me. It screwed me. I mean, there's this auto thing that you could do here. Oh, is that it? Just 4 auto things? Add that for each item? Oh boy. Literally, are you sure you write auto fit? Because like up here, the guy just wrote auto. I'm going to start with auto and see where that gets me. I have this feeling. I'll tell you what the feeling is telling me. I have a feeling that this will not consistently do the header and the footer, or and the body. Yeah, that's what the feeling got me. So the second one of these gets bigger, that's no good because these are on two separate grids. You have one grid here and one grid here. Now, let's just be clear. CSS table would have been a solution here. We could have used the table. That should have been the third option. Just use a table, dummy. It's tabular data. That's going to be your best bet. And that would fix all these things. Yeah, I think the problem is that we broke it into body and header. Grid template. You're giving me a lot of information. You're giving me a lot of information on this. Body items. There's no way this works in its current form, Nick. There's none. Because you got to think, this doesn't have this and this getting the same styles. They don't have a way to say, hey, I need this much space for my columns, and this guy's gonna be like, well, I need this much space for my columns, and there's no communication back and forth. So the only thing I could think is if you just auto everything. Is that right? You just keep adding. But this, to do this, you literally, this is not the tool for it. Why would they make this work for tables? Right? I don't think this is the tool because you're never going to get this working. Unless I'm really missing something. I don't see how you make two of these do the thing they need to do together. Because let me show you something. If we just say, just get rid of all the grid stuff, right? Okay, so now it's no longer a grid. And then we say, this is a table. Oh, we get into fun stuff now. Get into fun things. Give it some width. And then you say, these are table rows. And then these are table cells. Nope. Hold on. The header divs and the row item divs. It'd be a lot easier if I didn't do the header, body, and row item elements, but then how do you specify the difference here? Is it because there's a body? We could try that. Hold on. Like, let me go back. I would like to see if you could do it in grid. I see what you're saying. Let me restructure it. So let's take that out like this. And then basically we're just going to say, okay, these just exist in here. Or not even. How do you, I mean, how would you, okay, feasibly, how in the hell are you going to do that? I take that back. How in the world are you going to do that? Because these are going to be row items. Like header is just is a shorthand for row item. So maybe if we did that, got rid of the body, stuck that in there. So it's basically a bunch of rows. Okay, so now it still can do the thing it needs to do. But now can we get it to do it a little bit smarter? So we gridded this thing out. There's a grid inside of here. I think we have the same problem. It just won't go, it won't do the thing we want it to do yet. Even with a different structure. Again, I'd like to make that work, but I just think when you got a table, make it a table. If you put it all in the header, it will go 4 across, then 3 down. But if I put it all in the header, then this stops making sense to me. Why would you have 4 items of header And then inside of the same container for the header, you just have all this stuff. Just doesn't make sense. Does it have to be only CSS and HTML? Hell yeah. There's no reason this shouldn't be. I'm going to show you guys an ancient technique called a table. Tables are a pain in the ass to set up because they just constantly want to not do the thing. Just like that, now you have a table and all this stuff responds correctly. And so you don't have to use the table elements because the table elements are a little clunky. Here they really wouldn't be. You would just literally call this a table, and then you'd use T head up here, T body here. But this is fine. Like this is a fine way to go about it too. So tables are a little bit they're obviously not as clean as the grid stuff is, because I mean, look, it doesn't have the smartness to push off from that item, but it's easy enough to get that back. Say, okay, I need some padding here. And boom, now you got some padding. You notice how everything kind of adjusts too. So if one of these things ended up being like way, way, way big, it's going to move all this stuff back into place and nothing's going to break down. I'm sure there's a way to do that with grid, but you know, there's something to be said that like there's already a tool that does a thing. Why would you use anything else? Kind of want to center that a little bit, but whatever's like whatever. We just say AMT. I don't even know. Do you need a label for amount? Probably not. Just say plus 30. It's like, also, do you need a label that says datetime? Probably not. Let's leave it. It looks funky without it. We'll put them out back in too, just so we can do that one thing in a minute. Oh, son of a bitch. Okay. Let's make, let's just color amount, and then we'll do this with a data generator. So data name equals amount. Color. We'll try this color. Nope. We don't want to color all of that green, just the row item. Cool. Neat. We could do some little fancy pants stuff too. Like if you hover this, we give it a little, just a little background color shift. Where you do this is like a little overlay. So I'm putting in an extra item called BG shift. Save that, but we're gonna have to pull this off the DOM. This might be where tables just break on us. This is where it could happen because it sees that extra thing in there. So you see how we're saying display table cell for all this stuff. So we got to undo that. That way it'll uncalculate. Tell it to go backwards. We'll do position relative on these and ZNX them up. Do width of 100%, height of 100%. And just to make sure it works, background color red, it should show up behind those things. Oh, son of a whatever that did. Okay, well, sure. Just be as big as you want to be. Don't worry about it. God. Oh, snap. What did that do? It was just like everything needs to have this. It should have caught that. Relative. Okay, well, at least we only highlighted the entirety of this. The Z-index is front back. It's like it's layering. It's like Z-index 0, 1, 2, 3. As you put the Z-index higher, it comes forward in the layer stacking. So z-index 0 is a way to stick things right in the back. Yes, the z-index caused it. I broke the layout too. Yeah, I see that. That might be, this might be some, I might be trying something that you can't do with the table display. It might read that and just say no thanks. So I have another way to do it. This is not a smart way to do it. This is an old way to do it. Using my old tricks. Let's use this pseudo on it. Crap, it did it again. Okay. Other ways you could do this. So even with a pseudo, it's making room for that. I think it's trying to. And this is just ridiculous because it doesn't catch the right height out of the row item anyway. No. Well, we know the line height is supposed to be 30 pixels, so we could say height is the same. Oh, it's still not catching it. What is the deal with this thing? What are we doing? Why is this? That doesn't make sense now. Because we specified a left and a top. We gave it a width and a height. We positioned it absolutely. It's still trying to compute in. We position relative the row item itself. We position relative all the divs in the row item. We don't need to do that, I don't think. We need to do that for z-indexing. And still it says, nah, I need some space here. Where are you getting stuck? And that just decided I'm going to be as tall as the whole thing. Even though the row item has a strict height set. That's so funky. Boy, is that funky. So that position relative should establish height there. So when this thing says I need to be 100% high, this is how high it's going to be. Interesting. Try max height? No, dude, you don't want to start messing around with this. Something's broke. Thanks, Nick. What'd you get? What in God's name is this? Okay, you have header, and then you just have a bunch of cells. This is madness to me, though. Like, it totally works. Okay, it works, but it's madness. Like, how would you know what the grouped information would be? You know what I mean? I'm glad you got a proof of concept. Madness. Absolute madness. All right, I am done trying to make this work. let's just get rid of the before. I know what I want to do, and I wanted to do a really cool version, but what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do just a hover. That's all I want to do. Just light it up. Just light it up when you're looking at it. That's it. Just want to make your life a little bit better. Just a little highlight. Boop, 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 boop. Perfect. Let's give that a little transition. Just to spice it up even more. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. Okay. It's doing it. Let me look at you, Fox. Why? Spicy. Yo, you just threw this together on your own there, Foxy? Crazy town. How did you put this thing together? Let's use... Do we have to do that? Okay. You guys are using the ancient Css here. Oh, so this is display table. Yeah. Wait, what? Ah, and you go to block here, table row. Yeah. That's not yours? Yeah. That's the idea though, is it table works. And you don't have to use the HTML table, right? You can use the CSS table, which lets you just kind of have the dividus. And everything just is a div. Because if not, I don't know how many of you guys were around when tables were a thing, but a table would look like this. You would have a table like just like this, then you have something called a T head. And then inside the T head, you'd have to specify there's a row. And then for each column, you would do a TD. Why is it D for column? I don't know. I really don't know. Don't ask me. And then for the body, this is the semantically correct way to do this. That would be one of your rows. And then you could also have a T foot. Same thing. TR, TD, times 4. One of the main reasons why this is kind of a pain in the butt is you have to separate these things out a little bit. It lets you style them. You style them the same way you can style this. But it'll break pretty hard if you mess around with it too much. It'll break pretty hard. Now, there was a age when this is how you actually made websites. In the T head, you can use a TH instead of a TD. Yeah, sure. You do whatever you want. Yeah, it's weird, right? And is it TF down in the foot? TF. It's a weird way to do stuff. But back in the day, before there was so if we go progressively backwards, right? Before grid, flex helped you do this kind of stuff. Before flex, float helped you do this kind of stuff. Before float, tables were the way to lay things out. So if you needed one thing here and another thing here, you didn't have inline block, you didn't have all these fancy fangled things, you would set up a table, and if you just literally wanted to do 2-column layout, it would look like this. And then you would start being like thing on the left, and then thing on the right, like that, and you would go in and style the bejesus out of this thing to make it work. And what gets even crazier is tableception, when you're like, oh, I need the thing on the right, I want that to be just a solid block like this. The thing on the left, I need to lay that out too. So you tableception the whole thing, and then inside of this table, more tables inevitably start to emerge to define even more layout rules. And before you know it, this is a giant heaping mess. This is a heaping mess. So this is the thing. When you hear people talk about why they hate tables, it's because this was the only way to do stuff for a long time. And you'd get these big heaping messes all the way through. And nowadays, you don't have that heaping mess. If I was in here and I needed to lay some information out in this column right here, I wouldn't use another table. I wouldn't even do another display table. I'd use a different tool. What table gets you is it gets you responsiveness right out of the box, like that. That's making those columns bigger, smaller on its own. And it gives you that one thing that I showed earlier, where if your content gets a little too big for its britches and it breaks out like this, it's going to automatically resize everything and keep alignment. That's the cool thing about tables. They keep alignment. That's the cool thing, but it's also the worst thing, right? Best and worst part about it is that it just sort of does its own thing. So when you do, there are some places where you still use tables, but like for tabular data, but for layout, I think the only place you'll still use a table is in an email. Yeah, and you guys are talking about that. Yep. So in emails, for whatever reason, most email clients don't take CSS, structured HTML, and you have to put the tables in, and everybody's just okay with it. I mean, there's some email clients, the major email clients like Gmail, that I think you still have to inline styles on Gmail if I'm not mistaken. It's such a pain in the butt, man. I remember one of the first jobs I ever got, like, I think it was the first job I ever got when I wasn't so I was a freelancer for a while. I had a little tiny agency with my friends when I was younger, and we did a lot of like video work and photography and websites. But this was early web, man. I was 17 years old when we started that company, so that'd be 19 years ago. So that's when I first really had like formal business training as a web guy. And back then it was even wilder. You want to do something cool on a website, you do it in Flash. You make a big giant movie out of the website and people can click on the movie. But as time went on, I went to college for this stuff. I used to make websites just kind of like however the heck you're going to make them. And as time progressed, I decided time to go to college for visual design because I thought I wanted to get better at doing the stuff that's on the right-hand side of the screen here, right? And during college, I didn't work very much, if at all, until maybe my third year in college. And I just got to a point where I just wanted to make money. Like I had support of my father help me through college a little bit. And he said, I'm not helping you out anymore. I was like, dang it. Okay. And so I had to get a job, and just whatever would come up. And for me, I got really lucky because I only stuck in this job in this type of role for like 6 months. And then, well, there's a long story there I don't want to get into, but I got really lucky and I didn't have to do this forever. So what I did was I tried to put myself out there and say like, okay, I don't want to do freelance work. That was a check. No more freelance. I wanted to get some real experience at a big agency. I also wanted to get experience with big clients and all this kind of stuff. I didn't want to do the management aspect of freelance. So I started talking to friends of mine and said like, who can hire me? Who's going to give me work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just need a foot in the door. Like, just give me something. And what I got was HTML emails. I got convert whatever the designer does, just whatever the designer figures out, make it an HTML email. Just make it work. And that was hell. That was the worst because you would do these they'd give you ridiculous things you needed to do. Like, I remember one HTML email where the guy had like a boat. I can draw it. It was fucking crazy. The guy had this boat. It was for like an anchor company. Anchor company. Seriously, that was the company. It was just that we make anchors. And it was being managed by this huge agency, right? This massive agency was handling them. So the top of the email looked like a boat, like a big oil tanker. And it was gorgeous. It was all, what do you call it? Like, this is what an oil tanker, this is actually kind of how they look, right? It was this gorgeous illustrated oil tanker. It had the name of the company sort of on this. Oh, I remember the name of the company. Actually, I probably shouldn't show it though. So like the name of the company was here, all illustrated. Then there was sort of this, this is where the headline goes. And that's variable text. So that's all got to be done in HTML. And then there was something over here, which was a button they could click to who knows what. And then there was the email body, which sort of like they kept doing like a side rail down the whole email like that. And then they had a body here. The side rail just had like thing after thing after, it's like news items, right? And then here was like a message that they would write out to somebody. Okay. Then there was some footer stuff here, like this, just kind of standard footer. Again, just more capture items than like sort of your standard footer like this. But then down here, there was the ocean floor. And up here was the top of the ocean, right? And the whole way down, there was little fish and like a little guy swimming. And there was, like a whale at some point just hanging out down here. So, this is what whale. I'm not doing too bad with the drawing today. Look at this. Little whale down here, little submarine. Little, like, this is the worst. This is the worst. And, of course, this was hard enough to do, right? And then off the front of this stupid thing is this stupid anchor that just kind of like moves through the background of the page. And that ends up down here like this, kind of stuck to something. This was like a month of my life figuring this out. And that was just the worst. It was just absolutely like, why? And you know what the craziest thing is? You know what the craziest thing about this was? I smashed my head just trying to get this working, right? And mind you, it's not as easy to get like this. This is like, this is a hard thing to get started anyways. And you get it working perfectly, right? So your steps are like, okay, I got it working, thank God. And then you have to do what's called an acid test. And I don't know if this is a smart thing to Google, but acid email test. Acid email testing. Yeah, email and acid. This is what we used to use. They've been around forever. And what you do is you get your thing working, and then you get it working like in your local browser. Your only real way to test this stuff is like to send it to yourself over Exchange or something like that. Like a Microsoft Exchange was big email client back then. And then you take email and acid here. I don't think that they really push this too much anymore. But they would take that HTML that you made, and then they would email it from different origin points to different endpoints. So it'd be like the email starts in Microsoft Exchange, it ends up in Microsoft Exchange. Starts in Exchange, ends up in Yahoo. Starts in Exchange, ends up in who knows. And Microsoft Exchange, for whatever the hell it was worth, was the worst thing ever. Like it, or Outlook or whatever the hell it was called, because it had its own HTML engine. Okay. One of the versions was legit. It was like IE 5 or 6 or something like that. They jammed inside of Outlook. The next version after that used the same HTML engine and CSS engine that like Microsoft Word used. So it just invented a bunch of rules, like padding rules and all this crap and shunting rules. So the way to get this thing to really work is every element on here, every single element had to shim in. So like if you had blank space here, you had to like shim an image everywhere there was blank space and everywhere. So you just keep creating these shims. There could be no empty space in this whole thing. That's the gist of it. You had to fill every pixel with something. Literally, like you had to have a table column filling that thing. So you do your test, email and acid comes back. It looks great in 20 out of the 30 things or whatever. You fix the next 10 things, it breaks the first 20. So, that's a big part of spending a month on an HTML email. But once you get it all working, okay, so I get this all working. And my manager was like over the moon, so excited. Like, because my manager knew exactly what I was going through. They were like, I know it's crazy, but that's what the art guys want, so let's get it over to them. Send it over. All good. Just perfect, works perfect. They never used it. They went with the simple, like, they ended up going with something that was just like basically there was just a picture up at the top of their name like this. And then column 1, column 2, footer. And that's what they ended up going with. I almost just said that's enough. It just embedded in my head. I don't want to make money as a developer. I want to make money as a designer developer, right? Because it was just the worst month of my life. I got paid pretty well to do it, but HTML emails, absolute nightmare. Glad I never have to do any one of those ever again. We should leave that for posterity. This is just going to stay, just so I can see it and get angry at myself. I bet I could dig that up. I bet I could find that somewhere in a hard drive somewhere. Anywho, back to table development. Unreal. So I think the next step we're going to do here is we're going to actually do some, we have to create these tables, and there's two ways to create tables in the front end. One is we could have something like Rails generate the tables, which I don't mind, or we could just provide the data over an API and have JavaScript generate the tables. I think for the purposes of this stuff, if we're going to use tables in several places, it might just be easier to JavaScript generate the table. I think that might make sense to me. So what I want to do is I want to create an object for each row. And inside of the object, we're going to populate in a bunch of data. So at first, I think all we're going to do is get this sort of put together as a Ruby piece of code so we can run it again. This kind of stuff is a little questionable. I don't really care if the dates change. What I want to see is some randomness between these things, between extension and then some of the different things that could come in here. And I want to see randomness in the points. So let's get that started. Happy Friday, Binks. Okay, don't care about that. Back to Ruby. We're just going to make that as a string and say, whatever, 8. It would be like a long, we'll do the longest one it could be. So that one will just keep rolling in. We'll do a little origin array, which can contain the 3 values. Then we'll do a description array, which who cares? We just want to see it look a little bit different. Same thing. So just add some random values in here. Who'd be a guy that would gift things? Noah would. We'll say Bane Games. Just a few different random pieces there. Now that we have those things, we're going to dynamically generate the amounts. So we want, let's just say 40 items, I guess. Let's get an output. How are we going to do that? Output. Okay, so we'll construct this new hash thing. So first up, we need the date base. So that one just goes right in. And we're going to match this to whatever we want it to say up top in the header. So we want that to say date time, sure. And so we'll just grab that date base string, fine. Now we're going to pick some things here. So we don't need to go crazy on this. We'll say origin. Nope, that's not a word you should use. Let's actually just type in the word origin. Origin equals pick one of the things out of the array. So anything from 0 to 2. Or maybe we could do like that, maybe. We'll see. We're gonna say just grab a random thing out of there. I wonder if there's a way. I bet Ruby's a smart cookie. I bet Ruby has like grab a random thing from an array. Just type it the way you think it, Greg. Ruby grab random item from array. That should get you what you need. Is it sample? Ah, bro, that's so cool. Look at that. Yeah, this is what I love about Ruby. Right? Rails is the same way. I think people like overlook Rails a lot and they overlook Ruby a lot, but people have to understand this stuff was made to be like fun. DHH put together Rails, right? And his whole deal was like, it's fun. So we don't even need that. So we skip a step. Boom. And now we're just going to say origin, because that's what we want it to be called. And then we'll say origin array sample. God, that's so cool. We'll say description. Nope, I'm doing this backwards. Description. And even just the way you write these things, I know you write them differently in JavaScript and that might bug somebody, but and once you get into the swing of Ruby again, it's great. Or even start swinging into it. Favorite language. I'm a total convert. Like, I used to be really big about really big about PHP, which makes sense. I was big about JavaScript too. But once I started using Ruby and Ruby on Rails, I haven't looked back. I've been using these for 5 or 6 years now. Just so many simple dang ways to do this. So we want a random amount between, we'll say 1 and 100. Okay, and now we're going to take that and stuff that into the output array. Even just that little thing. Just to be like, it goes in here. Right? Did it work? Let's hope so. Oh boy. Oh, we did it again. Don't do that. I equals I minus 1. That's what you got to do, or else this just runs forever. Oh, we've done it again. Oh, I'm sorry, Replit. Right now, their AWS bill is climbing exponentially. We could have called it again because they do this recursively. Oh yeah, she's done. She's toasted. That box isn't going to stop for a long time. Let's just make it new. Sorry about that. Replit. Let's try that. Uh-oh. Yeah, okay, there we go. It's like, we do it again. So now we have this full array to mess with. So let's grab this. Oh, hold on. That needs to go to JSON. Because right now it just printed the hashes out. There we go. And that's better because that'll simulate in whatever we want to, when we want to get it out of the database, we're going to be pulling it out as JSON. So let's just go to prototype stuff.js. Perfect. You'll notice jQuery. Shut the fuck up. So this would be table data for what? What is this table data? This is for earnings. Yep. There you go. Oop. Okay. Now let's go back here. Let's make a little template for this thing and we'll just fill it in. So what we're going to do is we're going to loop this whole thing. Based on the page it's on. So we're going to have to add something again. So this will be, we'll do this differently, obviously, when we go to do another thing, like another page that has a table. So for this one, we'll just say data has, or data table equals, and we'll grab that variable name, table data earnings. Boop. Save that, nothing will happen. And now when this thing gets clicked on, we're going to say if it has, so this is if it has page target, right? If it has a table to load, then load that table. What language did I use for Omatum? Languages. Lots of JavaScript, lots of Ruby. Okay, so we're saying if this has data table, then draw table, which is a weird way to say that, using that thing. Okay. All right, so this is where it's gonna get funky. We need to get the data that's here that we named here. We need to load that here, but all it's gonna get is a string, right? Let's use old alerty to tell us. Yeah, so it's got a string that it needs to pull. Now you can't just say here's the string of it, right? You're gonna have to eval that. I think. People say don't use eval. They're right. but it works. So what it does is it says you gave me a string. I'm going to try to evaluate that string against what I see. And it converts the string back into the reference name and is able to load this thing. That's a really valuable trick. It won't come up much, but when it does come up, you'll bang your head against the wall trying to figure that out. Because if you can use eval, you can also patch things like functions. You can be like, run this function. So here we could have just said data callback, and it would have said draw table. Watch this. Yeah, we could do this totally different. Dangerous. It's a little dangerous. You gotta be careful with code like this. Never stick something like an eval on a back end. God. It's like writing CSS with, SQL with like post variables. So we can have this callback and we just say, hey, if there's a callback that needs to run, this will make our prototype a little easier to mess with. Whoop. And this is not like stuff like jQuery does callbacks too. Just jams it in. So we won't even need that. Just say boop. Don't worry about it. Call this table data. And the exact same way, it's working the exact same way, but now it's a little bit cleaner. So we could literally put anything in there. We have other, like, look, let's say if we want to do another table, just to say test table. And it's literally just a thing that says message works like that. And then we tell this callback now to use test table instead. Boop, just like that. Tricks. These are tricks. It'll be on the final test, so. JavaScript is, I think it's great. Like I'm not a big fan of Node, because I think these sort of patterns, if you start picking them up in the front end, they're safe in the front end, but then you bring these patterns into the back end and don't do that. But I like it a lot for the front end. I don't like it very much in the back end. It is nice. Like I could, you can just say, I learned it in the front end and I use it in the back end. That's kind of nice, but I wouldn't recommend it. But you do you. I'm not going to shit on it. It's just not my preference. So now what we want to have happen is we want that data to load into here, right? So we have the console logging that it has the data, right? Now we'll take that and let's take a look at that dashboard content thing. we have a table here that can get hit. So what we might even want to do is say that that data is for the earnings table. So check this out. Take that, go to the dashboard page with the callback. So this is why it's nice, right? Because now I don't have to update the JavaScript that much. I'll just do it there. Draw a table with that and with a string called, thanks, Sublime Text. That's what I want. With a string that just contains the ID for the earnings table. And now down here, we'll say, just table target. And what I want to do is I want to clean that right out. So I'm just going to take that and say table target and give this a little reference like this. The table equals the table target and a little letty there. We'll just empty it out. Let's see, does that work? Well, I missed a thing. So it's not working yet. So earnings table, is that the name of it? Let's see, where'd you break? Where'd you break? That might need to be in. No, it's in the right quotes. Earnings table. Is it that stupid? Is it this stupid thing where I have to do this? Empty yourself out. Nope. Nope. It's an old var boy there. Table target. Let me just see if I can log that out. Oh boy. What did happen there? Why don't we just log table target real quick? You had the thing. This is all you need. This is all you need. That's what I want. Oh, hold on. It's not in quotes. Huh. This might be just a silly problem. Let's see. Let's make it unsilly JavaScript. Convert it to a string for me there, please. No, that didn't do it. Oh boy. Let's put some spaces. Oh, come on. Come on. Do I have to do this the real weird way? Get rid of the hashtag. Take this. Add the hashtag. Do that. Come on. That's super weird. Why didn't it see that? Does it? Oh. I think I know exactly what's happening. So I'm pretty sure this is totally, the code's totally fine. I did not tell it to wait. I didn't say, hey, hold on a second. You got to load a page and then you got to do this thing. So what I have to do is I've got to find where the page loading actually takes place, which is right here. Okay. And then I have to, let's see, I have to make sure I assign this out. So we want that to just stay there. And then we'll ask that question in here. So say, hey, do you have this? Did that thing that called this have that? There we go. Okay, we got it. Yeah. I forget that we're literally loading a page in, so we have to wait. Also, let me do this real quick. just in case I need to generate that again. All right, let's just guarantee that's in there. So we're just going to do a little table wipe. Yes, Noah, I really like to do that for jQuery object selectors. Absolutely. Because I think you're just telling yourself like, that's a thing. That's a thing I can talk to with jQuery. Makes your life a little bit easier, I think. So I don't think we'll actually have to wipe the table. So I'm going to pull this back, but we're going to build a renderer for the table. So we need to separate out all the unique keys and make it called a thing header. I can see if there's some like weird JavaScript-y thing we can use to find the unique keys. Find unique keys in JavaScript, because I'm sure there's something that's been made to do this. And we don't, we want distinct. Is that the thing? Object.keys. Well, look at that. See, there's things. So that'll get us our headers. Let headers equal table data dot keys. And then do we need to do a distinct on that? Let me just see what that logs out. That didn't do anything. Just gave me an array iterator. Oh, thanks guys. It's literally object prototype. Object keys. Don't ever change JavaScript. You stay like that. Okay, that's not the keys. That's just a list saying 0, 1, 2, 0 to 39. Did I script title that out? I may have pushed the wrong thing in there. Oh boy. The keys they're going to look at the keys like that. Well, you'd imagine that the first item would have it. Let's do that. Boom. Okay. There we go. We got it. Well, first item, please be named correctly. There we go. So there's our keys in an array. So let's generate the let's give it a little template to work from and say let. I don't know. I'm really shaky on what let and var and all this stuff does. So don't try to teach me. I'm never going to learn. I'll wait until they invent 3 or 4 more things and you guys are all confused. But I'm just going to make a little template for the row. Okay, so yeah, just that's actually helpful. Tell me those things. Yeah, I don't really understand the let verse variable thing. I really don't, because I get that let can die within a block, but so can var. Like, I define var table here. It doesn't exist outside of this function. I don't really understand that whole thing. It's like the pseudo global. It's not though. Like, it's dead. If this happens and if I say like do a thing, like, I mean, come on, like I don't get this. If I say do a thing like that and I say function do, so we know that table is in existence, right? And we say console log table. It's not going to be there, right? It's not going to exist there. Oh boy, something broke. Probably there. Table is not defined. Of course it's not, because it's not a pseudo global. It's not a global at all. If you set it up here, if we said table exists here, and then we didn't do that there, then sure, it exists because you've put it into global spacing now. You know? I just don't get it. This is the whole thing I've had trouble with, kind of understanding about why these things were put in place. Like, const makes sense that, like, if once this is set, you can't change it. It's immutable. That makes sense. That's actually it's a really smart thing to do. Var is function scoped and let is block scoped. Yeah. But for the most part, I think you can get away with just using nothing but var still. Like, I just don't get it. I guess the nice thing is if you're doing for loops instead of for loops instead of for loops, you can keep saying let I equal, right? No, you can't, actually. What am I talking about? You know, I don't know. It's just like a weird... The web is getting weird, guys. It's getting... strap it up. It's getting freaking weird. So anyways, we have the row template. Is that going to give me some crap? What is that part? Unexpected token thingamajig. Is it just... I haven't used these templates too much. I thought it was just this plus a thing, but we'll do that. And then, so we want a for array for, what is the thing? For something in something, for header in headers. Then here's our row template. And we're going to want to do a string for this. So we're not going to use virtual DOM or anything. We're going to slam it all in as a string. Then we're going to slap it all into the thing once we get through the batch. Oh, great and wonderful JavaScript. I know I have to tell you you're a string. And let's console log this. That should just contain all that code ready to go. Yep. Nope. 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 Of course it didn't. Of course it didn't. Why would it? Because we're trying to walk an item, right? So this is actually going to be for array items. So we want, God, equals. We want this thing. Oh boy, header is not defined. Of course it's not. Headers. Header is that for each. Invalid string length. What? God damn. Invalid string length. Well, I'm missing a thing there. Hold on. There's probably an easier, better way to do that too. No, I'm not. Oh, yeah. We did this wrong. Okay. I equals 0. It's weird, man. You don't use these tools a little bit, they just die. There we go. That's what we wanted to see. Wonderful. Now we're going to do the same thing for the table data. So let's remove this. I actually don't even want a header string. We'll just do the whole shebang. So this will just be the table string, which will end up appending. That there is a way we could have made this little function for sure. inside of this, we should actually have those keys, right? It's a daytime amount, all this stuff, right? So instead of being weird about this, yeah, we just want the values. Yeah, you got it. But we want to do this sort of like in a way that if we updated this, it would update the way this worked too. So we don't want to really hard code anything. Let me think about that. So here we almost, what we want is, we'll want to do another one of these minus this. And then save that out as something else. Oh boy, how are we going to do this? Am I thinking about this the right way? No, I'm not. We don't need it like this. Okay, so this will go through all the items there. Then we get the keys. Well, we already have the keys from headers. So for each one of those things that will be in existence, we want to do, what do we want to do? We want to make a new div and then jam in the header. Oh boy, hold on. It's basically this. This is going to happen again here. But we're not going to do this. And then we're going to take this out. And that's going to be something else. So this will be I. And the internal one will be J. Do another row template. And then here, J. Probably want to change these over to lets if you're telling me the thing is that they scope out a little bit differently. So that'll be, well, I guess if you're still redefining it, we'll just overwrite it. But we'll say let row template equal the header name for this thing and then the value out of that key. So that would be this, like this. And then you're going to say, you're going to ask blah, that key. Like that, and then walk into the value like that. Oh boy. And then say, here's your item row, just as a string. And then we'll take the item row string and add in the row template. And let's just do that and see what we get. Because we're also going to need an append. There's the table string right there. So table string will append this item to that. There's other ways to do this, or we could instantiate virtual DOM items and all that crap, but strings are fast. Strings are the fastest way. Table string here. We do need to encapsulate this. So I'm curious. I have an idea. What I need to do is have like a little thing like this. I need to stick that here. And one of the ways we could do it is cheap. Let's do it the cheap way. It starts like that. It does all these things. And then it adds it encapsulates that. And then we get that out. Okay. Check it. Okay, we got a lot of undefined. It got the first value. So it did know where to get the first value from. The second value, not so much. So we got the headers, but table data was supposed to be I, which would have been the first item in table data, then walk to J, which is supposed to be the name of the header. No, it wouldn't be the name of the header. It would be a number. So you literally need to do this. Oh boy. Deep. That's deep. Now we got all the data loading in. Yeah, Travelo. Yep. Now we're cooking. Now we got JavaScript. That's so we'll hit table and we'll just do an HTML replacement, which should tell all those things to convert their little happy butts into HTML. Yep. Screwed up something here. It's the same thing for the header. Same thing. Table string needs to start off with the header. It's dumb, but we're doing it. Boop. Very cool. Oh, not cool at all. What happened there? Oh, come on. All right, let's do some fixing. So these panels will make sure that they're what? What are we going to do to fix this? I could. Wait, something's. It says this is not good. Let me see. Something's weird. Overflow Y hidden. That's one way, but I want to keep native scrolling in. So if we overflow Y hidden, we're not gonna be able to scroll this up. What I need to do is I need to get this sidebar guy to be here, this guy here to stay here. You want to just do overflow Y scroll? I guess we could do that. Yeah, we could do that on the viewport. Probably isn't the way. We need to do it on that right panel, aka content loader. So there's content loader right there. What's going on here? What about if you're just 100 pixels tall? You're just a little baby. Well, if you're just a little baby, you're fine. Oh, but it's still a little bit weird. Okay. But it did fix the left-hand side. And it looks like it actually fixed the right-hand side. It's just this background is weird because I set these things up a little weird, I think. Let's get rid of the panel. There we go. There was too many things that had height that didn't need them. Oh, yeah. Oh, we've done it. We've totally done it. Let's make sure this panel's not broken. Not really. So what we need to make sure that panels have a min height of 100%. We don't want to say go bigger than that. Yeah, perfect. Now, the only thing I don't love about the overflow Y thing is like this page doesn't need scrolling. It's still got a scroll bar. That's the only thing I don't love. So what if you don't have it? Oh, that's what's going to happen then. So I guess we could do that, but now we're getting into crazy territory where we're going to have to display. We're going to have to fix this thing. You to wrap the table? Nah. I like to keep the scroll bar up over there. Set the sidebar with 100 VH. Good idea, Tom. Yeah. So let's see what would happen. There's some funk that's about to happen right now. Just let it happen, guys. We're about to get funky. We are going to say this thing. We don't really care about the flexing right here anymore because this is about to get the funky town. So if we say 100 VH, that's going to be a start. That's not going to fix it though. It's still going to be right there, right? So now we're going to have to say position fixed, which is going to push that like that. Yep. So now we need to take account nav. I'm sorry, the content loader, and margin left that sucker 200 pixels. Bingo, bingo. There we go. Funky town. Let me take you to funky town. There we go. Yep. That's what it's there for. And if you want to be real smart, you set that as a CSS variable. So when you changed one, it changed the other, right? But that's what that stuff is there for. Okay. Cool. I'm going to take a quick break, 10 minutes or so. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. I hope this has been a fun first experience as we make our Cowboy Store loyalty app. If you guys want to catch up on what we're doing after the stream, you can go to our YouTube channel, which is here. Tell your friends about it. It's the way we make doing content like this possible. A lot of the apps you're going to see us working on don't actually have the need to have monetization and stuff like that, because I have two very talented guys in the other room who you'll see in a minute when I go on break, who are editing our content down. They'll take a big stream like this and get it tight down to 20 minutes. It's funny. It's something we're really trying to do. Just tell your friends about it if you like it. If you hate it, just hit that dislike button, you know. Tell us what we could do better. We're trying to improve as much as we can. We also have a Discord server you can hang out in. We're trying to upgrade our spiciness. My YouTube channel got you into Twitch. Awesome, man. I'm glad you came from YouTube, because we're hoping there's some synergy here. You know, we're hoping that as YouTube grows, I don't want Twitch to be too big, but it's not the end of the world if it becomes big. I like it being personal, where I can actually have conversations, you know. I wouldn't know what to do if the Twitch got too big, you know. I have to get like a moderator in. You guys would be talking through a person when you want to talk to me. But that's really cool. But our YouTube channel, we hope that it's like people will watch on Twitch and go to YouTube for a better experience, and vice versa, you know. But we really appreciate everybody's support. We really have this hypothesis that this is a thing we can do. You know, I think what's weird about it is, like, I kind of envision most content for developers right now is sort of like this old TV show called This Old House. It's a guy who's like, today I'm going to show you how to make a door. And the entire day he's just working on the handle for that door. And he's like, that's a door. And like an hour later, you're just like, well, that wasn't entertaining, but I learned how to make a door. Great. But to me, developing and designing and creating products is a culture. It's a cultural thing, just like gaming is. And I feel like we can have a better version of that same experience. So This Old House being the straight educational content. You know what came out after This Old House was this guy named Bob Vila. And Bob Vila made it fun to watch the process of an entire house being created, right? And even beyond that, you get something like Extreme Home Makeover, where you don't really get into the nitty gritty of anything going on. You just are like, man, it seems exciting to do one of these home makeover things. So we are trying to create content that's right in the middle and become like the Bob Vila of developer culture and design culture. And just, I don't know, bring fun to something that is also a great way to make a living. Yeah. So let me go take a break. I've had like 15 coughs today. I should probably go drink some water. And I will see you guys in a couple of minutes. Hold music or something. Some fun break music that won't get me copyright striked on YouTube. That would be fantastic. Because you got stuff to look at. You just need stuff to listen to. Then we got the trifecta, the difecta, whatever that's called. Difecta? Did we just come up with the word? Was that the word? Might be. Just mouth dubstep. There was a dude that was amazing at that. Razel. If you haven't ever heard Razel, go listen to him. He was amazing. He could do like a whole song. He could do the beat, the chorus, same time. He has this one song that's like, If Your Mother Ever Knew. And he did like a live version of it. People went crazy. All right. I realize we kind of have this weird thing going on in the dashboard where this is all earning data. I think we should, and also, why did it remove the plus? Well, JavaScript, what do we do here? The amount is 50. Oh, those are just straight up numbers. We're going to need to add in something here to show the negative amounts too. So let's do that. Under redeem points, we're going to have like a list of things you've redeemed, but this here is just going to be like your transactions. So I'm going to do a little bit of code to figure that out. We'll generate a new table here, or a new data set rather. Bloop. Okay, so in the origin array, we're going to add redemption. And let's not worry about the description because I don't care. Because I don't care. We'll do a thing here to generate the item, but now what we'll do is we'll write two blocks. If we'll say sample origin equals origin array dot sample. Yeah, and then if sample origin equals redemption, we're gonna run just a little different block here. Boop. Where now it's going to be an array between negative 10,000. I don't know if we can do that. We'll try it. And negative, I don't know, 100. We'll try that. It might break things. And then the origin, instead of being a sample now, is just the words. It's just the value from sample origin. And the description, we can just jam in here and say, got a coupon. Or whatever. Got a hat. You got yourself a hat. So if it's not that, then we need to do just a little else here. I deleted that code. Smart guy. Just grab this again. Boop. Now, the amount is a number between 1 and 100, right? But we need that to be a string that includes the plus sign in front of the amount. Now, my question mark is, how the hell do you concat? Is it dot? That's PHP. I think you actually jam this in a weird little thing like this. Is that right? Is that is that how you do it? Uh-oh. Let's just see. Do you like that? Is that what you want to see here? Yeah, plus 14. Okay. And what about the negatives? Final redemption. Also plus. Oh, no. Redemption here, negative, huge amounts there. Okay, sure. Grab this. Copy this. Now, just to figure this part out, we want the pluses to be represented one way, and we want the negatives to be represented another in the CSS. So, how is this gonna be a thing? I guess we would look at that and then apply a second class to this. Because there's not going to be anything but redemptions that would be negative. I don't think. So let's update this code here. Blap. And then update this code here. Oh, wait a second. I got a better way to do this. Let's not use that. Let's just assume something. Let's just assume we'll look for this other piece. Oh God, do that. We'll do a check later for this. So let's push this back in. We can do a JavaScript check and then say, okay, apply a class. Instead of trying to look up and say, does it say redemption? If it says redemption, then apply a class. We'll just see if it's a positive or negative integer when it comes in. Bloop. Okay. Save that. And we'll see that this is showing this the wrong way. Yeah. So now down here, where it's going through and making these row templates, we'll say if thing, if the header J is the amount, then this data here is your check. Or if it's not that, it's this other thing. Okay, so let's see. Let. It's not that, it's just straight up the normal thing. But if it is the amount, we're going to analyze the amount. Empty class. Just leave that be empty. So now we'll be able to add this thing to say if it's positive or negative. So if header data is greater than 0, the addition class equals positive, or it equals negative. Now there's other ways we can do this, but this is an easy enough way. Save that. And it broke. Okay. What's your reason? What'd you do? Unexpected token thingamajig at the end of a CSS file. Great. So I have an extra paren somewhere. Somewhere in here. It's somewhere. Nope. What's up, Inkeel? Oh boy. That's fun. Let's just click that and figure out where it is. I have a friend growing up. I had a friend named Keel. And so you don't see that name very often. Ah, Mr. Bracket. Boom. Screw you, bracket guy. I got your number. So why is there only 3 of them? We screwed something up here. Check the console again. Header data is not defined. Yeah, why would it be? So is that for real? Like, what is it? Just loses it. It just says, I don't exist. So let can scope inside of an if statement. Wonderful. So now we have negative and positive. The negatives are no problem. We should have a class on there that says that it's negative or positive. Perfect. The positives we're going to add a plus to. So that'll be interesting. I'm going to see. I think the way I'm going to do this with a pseudo. And then down here in the chart, we have this color that's being applied. So that does it. We'll just unapply that. Bloop. And then we're going to say if it's that thing and positive, it gets that color. Oh, geez. That's not how you write that. Like that. And it's going to also catch something else. But if it's that thing and negative, it's going to go red. And that should do that. Oh, close. Close, Greg. Boom. Okay. So now we want to get our plus signs in there, right? So for positive, we'll grab this again and do this little guy. Let's just put this after. A little easier to read. Not that we're going for legibility. Do it. I don't know if this is going to work. We're going to try it. It might stick this in the wrong place. And it might mean we have to span everything going in, which is not a big deal. So before, let's just see where it's going to want to put that. Just put a content of plus. Ah, no problem. Look at that. Look at that. Like a glove. Perfecto. Cool. So I think I've only got time really for like one more of these pages. Oh, maybe not even. So what we can do is we can at least set out the objectives for the next page. We can kind of go back through this. We got our home page / login page. Come in here. We have settings, which who knows what's even going to be in a setting thing. We have points that you can redeem, tokens you can redeem, which is almost a little weird that these things are in the same place. But what we would do for either of these things. So for redeem points, I'm going to do some notes here. I better save this. OMBC dashboard user. That's probably good. And on the redeem points page, we're just going to disregard all this crap up here at this point. You can't seem to figure out what I'm making. Sure. Let me just give you a thing. So I'm going to be, we're uploading all of our content, and you can probably go on our YouTube and in like an hour catch up. So if you go onto YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. But there's going to be a playlist here called Project OmatumBucks. You can watch the live streams if you really want to. There's a playlist of all the stuff we've streamed here. And these tend to be a couple of days. They lag out a little bit. There's also the Twitch archive, right? But if you want to see like just a quick wrap up, go to the playlist here, and then you'll get, it's less than an hour, or it's maybe around an hour of stuff. And this is like 15 hours of streaming or something like that, all cut down. So we break these up into little episodes so you can see the idea for it, how we planned it, how we researched it, how we designed the logo, you know. And if you hit that subscribe button, the guys in the other room get real excited. Yeah, it does. But I've got these two wonderful gentlemen here that take the time to do it. We're trying to do basically like a media company startup. So I go on and I make the content. Those guys, they make the content look good. And it takes them about a day or 2 days to cut down a stream. It's an amazing amount of time. But they get it really, you got to understand it. It takes them that long, but it looks really good, right? It's like watching TV. Really bad TV. Better than The Bachelor, but worse than Game of Thrones. No, it's probably better than Game of Thrones. It has a better ending than Game of Thrones. So jumping back in, we have this redeem points section, and let's just figure out some of the things that go on there. We have our little earnings thing. This looks great. This really looks great. Redeem points. We'll want to have probably some things like store items, or redeemable. We'll say redeemable items. Oh, shoot. Thanks, guys. You can just watch them all day. Just watch them all day. They're fun. We've been debating if we should get a microphone in there and just live stream that out on YouTube all day. It's an ongoing debate. We have weird conversations. Sometimes they're funny, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's a smart idea. So we store items. We have store items and redeemable items. It's probably at the top of page. And my thought was we could make that like it'd be kind of fun to do this as like a kind of fun project. What if we did it like grid/list and it was like this thing that the HTML stayed the same, but we modify the CSS that's being used on a class. And you could see that either as a grid, CSS toggle, as a grid or a list based on a button you smack. They find I could adjust my code or the stream. All those guys do is video editing, Keel. So that's it. We were at a point where we were gonna hire a developer. It's kind of a long story, but the long story short is we started this with 2 partners. They were great guys, and they were gonna help fund this whole thing. And their business didn't do well during COVID, and I don't know where they're at this point, but the 2 partners backed out. So they were going to cover a lot of the expenses in the business, but now that's solely on me. And that's okay, but it also makes it really hard for me to hire a developer. So I wanted to get a developer in to kind of go back, have somebody I could rubber ducky this stuff with. That is not the current project, Darko. Sorry. We have to update that thing. But we couldn't afford it. So just me as the developer for now. We have one more guy that we work with too. He might be in here, Noah. Noah's helping get the content looking better. But I have something exciting I want to talk about before I get off here. But let me just get this figured out a little bit. So we have this redeem points thing, store items, redeemable items, the top of the page with grid and list CSS toggle. Oh, that'd be so sweet. And then probably just a list of things you've redeemed plus codes for redemption plus if the code is still valid, maybe. Because like what I imagine we are going to do is that we're going to have a store that has merch and stuff in it, right? We'll have some intangible items as well, but mostly we want to make this for tangible items. So I want to make it so like if you guys earn 1,000 points, we'll see that as $10. And if we have an item in our store that's $10, we can be like, yeah, that's yours for free. Take it. You might have to pay shipping, but whatever. We'll eat the cost of a hat or something like, or a shirt, because if you have 1,000 points, you're obviously a fan, and I don't see a big reason to make a lot of money off of fans. We make money off of people who want to give us money, I guess. But we just want to have that set up. So if that's the case, if there's a store that we have hooked up with like Shopify or something like that, what we'll likely do is have some logic here that you'll be like, I want this thing. I want to redeem a $50 gift card or something. You hit that button, Shopify spits out a code, we stick it into this list, and then you just copy paste that in Shopify, and bingo bango, you got the thing for free, right? I do not know exactly how this is going to work though. You guys make money from ads, right? Not much. On Twitch, not much. We could show that to you. Not a lot. I mean, there's the earnings on, we're not really trying to make money on Twitch at all. We're trying to make money on YouTube. Oh crap, whatever. But Darko, to answer you, am I making a merch store? No, we're making this kind of crazy thing. We're making a loyalty system. So if you watch our content, it's a thing. So if you watch content or participate in chat, whatever, we'll give you points for doing that. But we're going to use tangible rewards on the other end of it. So we're creating like a Twitch bot. We're creating a Discord bot. We're creating a YouTube notification system, because YouTube's not really cool with us saying, hey, if you watch our video, we'll give you 50 points. They're not cool with that. So it's just going to be a notification system, but it's an extension you install. It'll have like a little spinny wheel, and every day that you have the extension installed, you can click the wheel and get a prize. So what we're doing is we're kind of creating an awareness system for our brand. The merch store is just one thing that exists inside of that. It's just one piece of the redemption system. Because I'll have to ask you guys, like, what would you want? How would you want to be redeemed? And we'll add those things as you come up with them. As another piece of this, there's a lot of coughing going on this side. As another piece, we're going to have a, let me just close this. I don't want to look at W3C schools. As another piece, we're going to be building an ERC20 token, which is an Ethereum-backed token. And just so you guys know, we're feeling that out from a legal standpoint, because we may actually get into trouble if we have an ERC20 token because it's currency. It's basically dollars and cents. But the ERC20 token would be one of these items that every point that you earn, you additionally get an ERC20 token that backs that point up. So you can spend the points, but you get the tokens. And then you could, if you had a wallet, you could stick those tokens in the wallet. But again, not sure if we're going to do it, because from a legal standpoint, we might get into a shit ton of trouble to do that. Have I explored the option of using APIs from services like Stream Elements or Streamlabs? Why do that? We'll just make our own. Yeah, we could totally plug in a thing, but I think it's easy enough to make our own. Like, that's an easy mode. I feel like it'll take us a day to make a Twitch bot and a day to make a Discord bot, and we'll slam in all those little things like keep track of how many lines of text the person writes and all that crap, and we'll just figure it out later. But all we really want to do, Darko, is just do something like give bucks. I'm going to use your name. Something like that. And then our bot will pick that up and then give you 5,000 points. And then attach that little message to it. I know we're kind of reinventing the wheel here, but who cares? Like, we're doing this for fun. We're doing it to show other people how to do it. So let me show you this really quick. How much money do I make on Twitch? I don't know if I'm allowed to show you guys to this guy, this stuff, but I don't see why not. So not a lot. Where is it? I think it's channel analytics. Yeah. So over the past month, we've made $50, and that came from $2 in paid subs, $17 in Twitch Prime subs. Those are the easy ones. $15 in gifted subs, 87 cents in ads. Not a lot. $15 from, I think that was Alex. I think Alex gave the cheers and he gave the Prime subs. Yeah. Really nice of him to do that. But outside of that, you don't really make that much from ads. Yeah. Now, on the contrary, on YouTube, I can't show you our YouTube data because we're not monetized yet, right? But I can show you what it would look like. So we're just a baby YouTube channel right now. But we're in a very good category. We have very good demographics. So this is based on $4 CPM. And in our category, we'd make about $10 CPM. So this month on YouTube, if we were monetized, we would have made like $300, which as a 1 month old YouTube channel is not bad. It's really not bad. I mean, you're right. Really, really not bad. So we imagine it'll take about 18 months for us to get to a point where everything here is paid for every month. But maybe we luck out and we get it done in 12. The guys in the other room are making amazing content. So I imagine that we can do that. I think we can get there quicker. But this would take a long time. It's going to take a long time. I think on average to like hit those numbers, we need like 10 to 30,000 views per video if we do 5 videos a week. somewhere in there, 10 to 30,000. Oh, it'll take a while, but we're committed for the next like year and a half, 2 years. We're funded for that long. I mean, I say funded, it's coming out of my pocket, but this is what I want to do. This is like what I like to do. So I'm having a lot of fun doing this. The other guys are having a lot of fun doing it. It's a good situation for everybody. I don't see how we'll fail. I think that there's a big enough audience for this stuff. Although we might just end up being nothing but tutorials because we're gonna give into it. How to make a box, how to make a flex grid. Just nothing but that. 7 minutes long. Perfect ad length. I think that's it. So I got the redeem points thing done. Well, I guess I could talk to you guys about the thing I want to talk to you about, which is a realization we came up with yesterday. If some of you guys have been watching for a little while, we had done a design run on a product called Duranki. Well, we used to call it MAGA. MAGA was not the best name. And I'll talk to you guys in a minute about like reevaluating it, but to give you an idea of how much work we stuck in there. What do I do? YouTube Studio? Is that the place? No, I just want to go to my YouTube channel. We did a decent amount of work. I did about 40 hours, about a week of prep work, and then we streamed for like 2 weeks. And we generated, these are all live raw streams, probably like another 40 hours of design work, right? By the time we got done with it, it was a pretty thorough design run. Like we had a lot of stuff done. A lot of stuff done. Like great. It's just like a very, very detailed app. And we decided we couldn't move forward with it because there was some code in there that I just really didn't understand. Like we were inheriting this massive code base from a company that open sourced everything. But in my opinion, that app is like one of the most valuable apps I could work on ever. Not only just for myself, but for you guys too. I think that like it's something that everybody watching would like to use. It's essentially if you guys know what Docker is, it's like Docker, okay? But it moves, you take it from your local system and you move it onto AWS or wherever. And imagine being able to move that over there and then one-click things to move that monolithic app into several containers and scale all the containers independently. So you can build an app in this system without ever having to touch Docker code. That's one big piece. We're probably going to back it into Docker. But you do that, and then you have these very simple configuration files. Like you just say, give me I need a Ruby on Rails thing. And then boom, you've got a Ruby on Rails thing. And we know when we add Postgres and all these other things. But then when you go to deploy it, we can deploy your Postgres separate from your Rails. And we can stand up your Rails on one EC2 box and your Postgres on another. And then if you want to break a worker out onto another box, we can do that. So you can create these really complicated hosting scenarios that are almost necessary for apps nowadays. Because like if you stick everything on a monolith, you'll pay a lot more. So the idea is to have this this app that would do this. And again, I couldn't do it because I needed another developer to come in and sift through all this code and whatever. But the thing I realized yesterday was after doing the Docker stuff, because I've never used Docker before. Never. I'd use other things. But after using Docker, I realized how easy it would be to actually do this. There's going to be a bunch of code we have to do around deploying, but that's still going to be easy as well because there's deployment scenarios that are already in existence they're open source projects, and we can grab those and figure them out. So what I'm trying to say is that I think we can work on it. I think we can actually do it without the second developer. It might take me like 2 months to get it done, but that may be the next thing we work on. I'm not sure yet though. We might do another tiny project, but I'm leaning towards building it because I'm stunned that A, this product doesn't exist right now. We've looked, and that B, the necessity of it is so high. It's like you need a fork to eat food, and this fork doesn't exist. So everybody is using sticks and just stabbing things right now. And it's really like I feel like it's a revolutionary product. So it's kind of an exciting thing. If you guys want to talk about it more, we could talk on Discord about sort of like how we could pull it off. Because I want it to be a community effort, and I'd be more than happy to hook everybody up with like very good what do you call it? Very good either like lifetime subscriptions. If you put in a lot of work, yeah, you get a lifetime subscription to it. Why not? If you help out with beta testing, we'll give you a few months free or a discount code or something like that. But it's something I really would love to see people, rally around. Craze, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, as Craze just brought up, you'd love to see it built in 2 months. I'll bring Chad over here just because we're talking. You'd love to see it built in 2 months, but if you had to guess, you think it would take longer to build Maga? Probably at least a year. I don't think so. Hey, Darko, thanks for showing up, man. Nice to meet you. I don't know if we've met before, but thanks for stopping by, dude. Yeah, I think, honestly, MAGA, although it seems like a huge, we call it MAGA, this is the problem. We have MAGA, obviously not the best name. And then Duranki was the rename. But MAGA is because I own a domain, maga.io. I brought it back in like 2012 or something. For totally unrelated reasons. I was like, yeah, that'd make a good product name. MAGA. It's easy. But just to throw it out there, the guys that really advocated for me getting rid of that name, they were the partners that took off. So we could name it MAGA again if we wanted to. But Duranki's a really good name. So I think the problem I have is the MAGA logo looks amazing. Like, it's on that project doc, right? Yeah, it looks so good. It just looks so good. I have a hat with this on it. I'm afraid to wear the hat, though. I don't want somebody to be like, what does that mean? Even one of those Trumpers? Not that there's anything wrong with supporting a political candidate, but I mean, there's a problem with that word. Better than NASA. You got it right, Tora. It looks so good, man. It looks so good. I would like, Rob and I were talking about it yesterday and was like, do we just roll the dice on that and just let it happen? Just be like, no, screw you guys. Like, I'm taking the word back. But Rob brought up some really important things. He said, well, if we do that, then we have this problem that like search engine is never going to figure out that this is a software app and nobody's going to be able to actually search for it. And Duranki doesn't have that problem at all. So that's the problem. But Crace, to address your thing, if you thinking it would take a year to build it, I don't know. So if we look through I don't really think so, because if we look through the estimate document that I put together for this, oh, it's a big boy. Yeah, we'll just move through it left to right. So we're done with the desktop design. I thought it would take a week, but I was wrong. The next thing we'd have to do is to spin up the framework, which I don't think is going to take that long. I estimated like less than a week, right? Let's just get Electron and Vue working and get that all squared away. Then we have to work on local deployments. And to be honest, this is Docker. So this whole shebang, minus maybe one or two things that'd be a little bit harder to figure out, would be Docker. So we don't have to use VirtualBox. We don't have to worry about syncing because Docker does that. Local DNS is something we'd probably have to tack on. We wouldn't have to really import projects from other systems because you just say like, just import your Docker files. We'll figure it out from there. That's the one piece, right? And I think once we get local deployments figured, then we have to do remote deployments, and there's a ton of documentation on how to move a Docker file onto like anything, right? It's not hard. And so it's all these things. These would just be things we'd have to work on it. I mean, it's not something we definitely wouldn't have to do. But I think that the danger level here in terms of like feasibility, it's not a problem. It's feasible. We might spend a day on each one of these features, or 2 days or 3 days on each one of these features. But I think we could do it. And then once we have deployments figured out, scaling, web services, that's just easy peasy. Because if we can deploy it, we should be able to break it up pretty easily and scale it. Actually, maybe this is the easy part. Maybe remote deployments is easy peasy. Remote scaling, just swap the weeks. And then we have web services, which is super easy. And then marketing and promo, which is super easy. So really the danger, the only danger is right here in remote scaling, because that's the thing that we don't see it. So we'd have to architect it. And maybe that is where we would go and sneak out some of that nanobox code to figure out how they did remote scaling, because it's all MIT open source right now. And then just use that, because we're pretty sure the way nanobox worked is they used your VM of choice in local. So if you said I want a VirtualBox VM or a Docker VM, they would use that. But what they were secretly doing behind the curtain was they were creating a Docker file, and when you deployed it out, it would crunch this thing down into a Docker file. It would download all the relevant images and stuff like that, and then move that Docker file over to the Nanobox web services. And then on the Nanobox web services, it would split this Docker file out, because it would probably be several Docker files. It'd be like one per component. And they would split these things up and send them all off to their own servers. And that's my guess. And we can look through their code and see how they did it, or we could just figure out how to do it on our own, because we know what the end goal is, and we've seen other people do it. So this would just be a fantastic project to work on, though. But it's a big boy. This is like easily, 2, 3, 4. You're right, Craze. It could blow up to like 6 months. It could blow up to a year. But what I'm trying to say is I'm not afraid to work on it. I'm not like worried that if I get started on it, I'm going to be in over my head. I think I can handle that. What I was really mystified by with Nanobox was how exactly they were building the applications. And now I know. Now I have a pretty good idea how they did it. But so now that I know how they built the applications, it should be real easy to do the rest of it. But the other thing we have other stuff we could work on. We were looking at building a little app for pet lookup. What is it? Pet donations. Tinder for pets. Basically, Tinder for adopting pets. And the other thing we had looked at was something called MediaMonk, which I'm also really excited about building. Because MediaMonk scratches an itch we have here, but I don't know how much you guys would relate to it, but there's going to be a lot of incredible problems that we solve to make this program we have called MediaMonk work, which is essentially a giant content archive library thing. Let me just do this before I'm done. Let me just give this a little. I could do this all day. I could like sit on a design and tweak it all freaking day. Those date times, they're a little bright. Let's unbrighten them a little bit. They don't need to be that bright. Oh, looks so much better. Then the origins. Why don't we bold those things up? Neat. Yeah, it's neat. Okay. That's all I wanted to do. So if you guys don't have any questions for me or anything like that, I'll give you guys about, go for like 3 or 4 more minutes. If you have any questions, just start asking them and I'll get to them. What is SCSS? Good question. So CSS is your style sheets, right? SCSS is I don't know what it would be called, an abstraction language or something like that. So what SCSS does is it provides a way to compile your CSS and give it different instructions. So you literally can do, your output file is going to be a CSS file. That's being done by this program I have here called Prepros. But it takes the SCSS files, which you're seeing over here, and then it turns them into this CSS file that the website can use. Oh God, is there going to be a point when like websites can use .scss? Oh, that'll be, I mean, why not? It's probably a pretty simple calculation to do that. The browser can do this in like 10 milliseconds, right? Maybe that'll happen eventually. But it lets you do a lot of things. Like SCSS gives you the ability to use variables, which you can do now in CSS. But you could do these, like I can specify all these variables up here and then reference them later. I can nest my rules inside of another thing. So when I do #background image, that's going to convert out into this when it gets processed, which is kind of cool. This little nesting thing. And this is just like scratching the surface. There's a lot more stuff you can do with it. I tend to use it just to do simple stuff. I found when I took the jump into it, what it did is just sped me up a lot. I don't know if I use it perfectly, but that's not a big deal. For me, it's perfect the way I use it. It's essentially functional CSS, you know? Yes, so you can make variables in CSS. Yep. They're weird. If we look up like CSS variables, they're a little weird. So it looks like you start it with a double hyphen and then you specify it. And then when you go to use it, you use var thing, double hyphen, and then the name of it. And now you know. Can I use? Yes, you can. It's pretty well adopted. It's going to be an MDN. Yep, you can use it. Don't look at this one. Nobody uses Internet Explorer anymore, so don't look at that one. It's all modern at this point. Yeah, Keel, I'm glad you're getting started, man. It's a really fun job. You're an inventor, man. You're an inventor. That's what you do. I think we kind of like we simplify the term a lot when we say somebody's a designer or developer or whatever. For the most part, unless you're making HTML emails, like you're an inventor, you're making stuff, you're creating things, you're bringing it into the world. Yeah. And you have to learn the tool first, right? And that's going to take you some time. But once you learn the tool, it's like your imagination is the limit. And that's the fun part of the job is that, you know, what's really weird is like where I'm at in my career or my life or whatever. I almost find myself like running out of ideas now. And I have to really push hard to get new ideas. But, you know, that's just the way it is. Kind of keep that stuff in mind that if you have ideas that you want to do now, write them down. You might not be able to do them right now, but write them down. There's going to be some day where you're like, let me go into that idea hat and see what I've got. If you can't come up with ideas, not a big deal. I would say in a given year, I maybe have 2-3 ideas for products to work on. And if I push really hard, I might get to like 6 ideas for products to work on, which is tough because like I know you guys really like watching the one day build stuff where we just build something out in one day. But we would run out if I did like 2 or 3 of those a week, I would run out of one day builds to do in probably a month. Like, I don't even know if I can make it to a month. I really don't know. I could probably do this thing I'm working on right now as a one day build, but it would be garbage. So those things we have to pick really carefully, like how we're going to do them. I'm going to curve this sucker up here. That'll look better. As I'm talking through this. Sorry guys, I'm resetting the timer. You got a couple minutes and then I got to get out of here. Did that and then it might not let me do that. Yeah, it's a table cell. No border radius for you, Mr. Table Cell. I bet I can stick it on the whole thing, though. Maybe. Nope. Nope. That's not a thing. Oh, it's doing it. It's just not very bright. Yeah. There we go. Just a little tiny touch like that. Very nice. Rendered that perfectly down there. Jeez. the way this stuff works sometimes, just... Oh, there we go. It's the overflow hidden in the thing. There we go. Can't really see it. What it was doing was it was chopping this off, like leaving the corner still there. It was chopping it and then leaving the corner. It made lots of sense. Let's overnight this. Oh boy. So Tora, the worst thing about OmatumBucks.cache is we probably have to change this from saying OmatumBucks to something like channel loyalty points. Twitch in their TOS said you can't change those points in for other points. And what we wanted to do is like, oh, if you've got 10,000 Twitch points, just hit the button and we'll trade that in for 10,000 OmatumBuck points on our website. But you can't do that. For whatever reason, you can't do it. They don't want you to do it. I don't know. I can talk to some people I know there just to see what the extent of that is. Like, it's like, I might just be like, hey, what if just by happenstance, for 10,000 OmatumBucks on Twitch, I will say your name and be real excited about it. And just by coincidence, you get another 10,000 points sitting up over in the OmatumBucks loyalty system. What if that was just throwing a scenario out there? Like, what if that was the case? So it's either going to be a, yeah, sure, nobody cares, just do it. Or it's going to be a, don't do that. That's not what those things are for. But it's tough because those little bucks thing, like they want you to give away physical stuff, like redeemable things. But for whatever reason, it's not going to be redeemable for fun stuff. For like actual, like Omatum fun bucks. Nick, if you've got, so you guys have a ton of these points, tell me on Discord something that would make sense that you would like to spend on them. I don't know what I could do. I'm not going to dance for you guys or anything like that. You can make your own. We're making our own points right now in Keel. So we're making a separate system for these points. But again, those the Twitch channel points, they don't let them move over to another system. But we can still reward you. We can reward you really similarly. We could probably match all the rewards that does. You're just going to have to install an extension. Because there's some stuff that's really tangible. We could say like, okay, every 10 messages that you write in a chat, you get a point. That rewards people talking, you know? But Nick and Tora, it seems like you guys have a ton of these points. Tell me what you want for rewards and I'll make it happen. I mean, we could do things like those Twitch points. You hit the button, and for some amount of them, you would get a store item. We just have to manually redeem it, and that's why I'm not. Maybe we could like generate a coupon code and send it to you in an email or something. Yeah. All right, guys, I have got to run, but it was good hanging out, and I appreciate all you guys showing up and helping and watching along. We have a sweet ass YouTube channel, Discord. Go on my Discord server. We have a Discord server and we have a YouTube channel. Please, 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 if you haven't subbed yet to YouTube and you like what you're watching, there's gonna be more of that on YouTube. So go hit that sub button. Let's find somebody to raid, because we're gonna go make somebody's night. All right, we got 30 of us ish here. Let's go make somebody's night. Go find somebody who's doesn't have 30 people. And they're doing science and tech. Let's go. Load a high on the viewers. Perfect. Let's find somebody with they're just getting started. Stack over flowers. No. Flowers? Flowers? That's confusing. You just lost it because your name's confusing. Gotta have a camera. Building a 2D game in C++. They have a camera. Their name is Hrimfisk. Let's see if we can find something that's not a game. Sorry, game devs. What? There's just a toddler. Who is this? There's just some kids just streaming Roblox out or whatever. Okay, let's keep going. There's a Live Roach TV. Oh, just watch a banana spoil. Sure. Tokyo Come Chill. Code, coffee, and he's got commands hooked up, and he's got a camera. I don't know what his code is. Let's take a quick look. Let me just take a quick look for you guys. Okay, so he's got some tasks. He's sitting here talking. Got one person watching. I'm gonna see if he's got any music. He's got music, so I gotta be a little careful. He's making a game engine. About watch me writing, maintaining code, sometimes unboxing hardware. How many followers is it? If he has less than 50 followers, we're going in. He's got 2 followers. Oh, this is the guy. This is totally the guy. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. Let's go make this dude's night. Oh, he's got the hardest name to type. See you guys later. Hold on. Let's see that. Raid that person. Cannot raid. Wait, hold on a second. He doesn't take raids? No way. He was the perfect guy. Can you really not accept raids? No way. No. Oh, dude. Dude, you were just about to have your night made. Dude. All right, back to looking. He was the one though. He was totally the one. Best days of game. We're not doing game dev. This whole platform is about games. We don't need to make it more about games. Oh, jeez. You lost me with whatever that is. Fairy people. You lost me. I got this guy. He's hanging out. A nice mane of hair. I'm jealous. HTML Twitch overlay. That could be kind of fun to watch. Let's see. Floppy disk. He's got a lot of videos. 47 videos. He's been streaming for a while. 224. Let's see. I'm a developer of a Twitch chatbot, motion graphics. He's got a little thing going on. Does he listen to music? He's only got one person watching. That's gonna be a problem. I can't do the music. Stream ending hypers. Oh, we gotta be able to find somebody. Oh, we're just not. Wait, am I on the wrong thing? Come on, back. There we go. Oh, who is this guy? Call in talk show chat on nissancommunications.com. I don't know what this is. It's pre-recorded, but you had my interest there. Computer Chronicles Arc. What is this? It's like a guy just plain old VHS tapes. That's for Rob. Rob would be into that. Making an MMORTS in C#. That MMORTS. That almost got me, but it's game dev. Work accountability stream. There's something kind of fun about a work accountability stream. Let's go make sure this person is accountable for the work that they have to get done. That sounds perfect. Have any followers? No followers? What? Oh, it's rare. Do they even have Muxy set up? Will they even know? Snowpoke too. Raid. This is the winner. Is it English? You got some music playing. Perfect. This is definitely the one. Let me see if I can get the raid going. All right, guys. We're going. Good seeing you folks. And I'll see you next week. Here we go. Totally doesn't suspect it. We lost the audio on this, just so we can see it in the edit. But this person is so happy that we rated her. She's like just started. Fantastic.